Welcome to another 7's Wild. I am Pop Blender, and with me, as always, every other Wednesday for your listening and viewing pleasure, my cousin.
Down South 77, aka 3-star draw.
Yes, sir. And here we are. Another couple weeks has passed. We've got a few figures to talk about. We have a special guest, and then a kind of fun exercise with mail away figures and what would we want to see in mail away figures in the classified line, which I had too many choices to really narrow down, but I had to make some tough cuts. So that'll be fun. Our top five mail away from the Real American Hero line, which I thought was a pretty good topic, as you as well, obviously.
Yeah,
So we'll keep what do they call it, sandbagging those topics, as
yeah,
we
we
go
just keep
along and
adding to the pile.
pick them out, pull them out. I did want to say first and foremost, goodbye fireplace, hello background, still a work in progress. But
Yeah,
I kind of miss the fireplace. I don't know what you think. I did kind of like it though. I'm not gonna lie.
I really did like the fireplace. I knew it was coming. I knew this was coming before anybody else did. You do have it. It does look good back there. That's what you wanted. You wanted to be able to display your stuff. The fireplace was just temporary, but it was nice though.
It was, and honestly, even though it wasn't real, I could almost feel the warmth from it.
If you
It,
if you leave the TV on all day, yeah,
it might, yeah, I know, right? I did like it, but I did want to get this stuff out, and it will evolve. It will evolve. There'll be better lighting back there to highlight some stuff as well. Obviously, I mean, I don't think I'll ever get to the point that you've gotten with the display and the painted, bookshelf and all that, all the great stuff that you have in that room. And people can't even see all of it. That's the other part. You did a little tour, right? We got a
yeah.
little quick tour, but everybody can't really see the whole gist of it. And I have two wonderfully framed, I guess, posters, if you want to call it prints, whatever, that you gave to me of every single figure throughout the line, right?
Yep.
From back in the day. And so I want to get those up on the wall as well, and maybe change angles here and there, right? One week maybe move the desk a little or the camera a little and show off some of that other stuff, man. But enough about that. I just
I th- I think you should, if you can remember to do it, I think you should do what Playboy used to do and
oh
pick
well,
something and hide it in your background, like you
oh
used to
yeah,
have. You search for the Playboy bunny in the issue.
that's
Uh,
actually it's almost a Where's Waldo too.
mhm.
That could be
I
kind of
mean, it
fun.
only going to be in so many places. You've only
Well,
got
that's
so
yeah,
much
that's
back
true.
there, but
Uh,
um,
that could be fun. That's a great idea. So you're creative like that. Like you can come up with stuff like that. Me, I'm just like this big just blockhead, and it's like, I need inspiration from other people sometimes to
yeah,
to think of
I do
something
too.
creative like that. Uh,
I watched that. I watched that video that Crow put out on his Destro castle that he's building. And I'm like, I could maybe see that in my head, but there's no way I could get from A to B to get to a
yeah,
finished product to C. Like
right.
that thing would sit unfinished in my room for like 4 years. The line would be dead before I ever finished it.
Yeah. Oh, for
So,
sure. It's
um,
kind of like this room here. It's a work in progress.
yeah, always a work in progress. Well, let's go ahead and say what's up to chat. We got
Let's
some
do it.
folks in here to join us. So we got Son of a Crayon Slayer. Hey, now was first in the house.
Yeah, buddy.
Menjoza, what's up, Menjoza? And let's see, Derek Holloman is here. What's going on, Derek? Speak of the man himself, crusty old Crow, the king in the north. What's going on, Crow?
Right.
Let's see, Stephen.
Inglorious would be probably glorious is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Inglorious is probably more correct.
Yes. We got Sabir's in the house. What's going on,
Severe.
Sabir? How you doing, man?
Yes.
Let's see. Lunchbox Killer is here. What's
Love
good,
it.
y'all? Wednesday. It's Wednesday. That's about it right now. that's about all that's good. Is there's only 2 more days. It's been the
Yeah.
longest 4-day week ever, and there's only been 2 days of it.
It's been the longest couple days for me.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in just a
Yeah.
minute too.
Yeah.
So Rafe Mace is here. What's going on,
What's
Rafe?
up,
And
Ray?
nice segue into that. Rafe
Yeah,
says, I
right.
hope you're feeling better. So let us know what's been going on with you. You haven't been feeling great.
No, because I spilled coffee right on the top of my nose. Anyway, yeah, no, yesterday at work in the afternoon just started getting what I thought was a migraine and started really progressing. And so, knowing that I had a stream with Matthew last night, and I really felt bad about it because I do like the consistency of it. And obviously after the inauguration and all that, not that he and I would get into all that as much or a lot, but there were some things to go over. But dude, I couldn't do it. Like and then threw off my sleep schedule and some of my planning for tonight
Yeah.
because I tried to sleep and then woke up, about 1:45 in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Could not get back to sleep until well after, really almost about 8 o'clock in the morning, and then ended up sleeping most of today as well. I've only had 2 migraines in my life. I know exactly what they are when they're happening, and this was that feeling. Um, I really feel for people that have them regularly. It is a
Yeah.
debilitating thing, and you and I kind of, I text you back and forth and kind of joked about it. It's almost like the red pill, blue pill matrix thing.
Yes.
Like you're
Yeah.
almost like, if I could live in a simulation,
I do it.
you know, uh, play with my toys, maybe go back to 1987, something like that. And just not worry about bills and work and this or headaches and that kind of stuff. Yeah, Matthew, right? I actually felt
Baker.
overall, worst of all, I felt bad for Matthew because I just hate to let somebody down, in that aspect, or if he was ready to go, I just really hate that. And so yeah, so I apologize to anybody that was maybe raring to go last night. We'll make it up to you next week for sure. And but yeah,
We're gonna have to do
man,
4 hours next Tuesday now.
I know, right? To Matthew's detriment. Yeah, no, it was rough though, man, and enough to where I didn't want to speak, and that's a lot for me. If anybody that's ever watched me, for me to not want to talk takes a lot, and man, I just did not even want to communicate at all, and so I hate it, man. I mean, look, we've done this enough times, and a lot of people out there that stream maybe regularly. Um, you know, no matter how many people show up, there are people who show up every week. And
Yes.
you kind of hate to let them down, and I know most of them would all say, hey, don't worry about it. Ain't no big deal. I'm with you. I get it. Right. But there's still that part of me that's like, hey, man, people still show up and they show up every week and they're in the chat. They hang with us for a couple hours. And I hate that. I really do. And so yeah, it was a bummer, but, uh, we'll make it up tonight. We'll make it up Friday, and we'll make it up next Tuesday, and try to bring some more stuff for everybody. But anyway, that's enough of that. I ain't no sense in going on and on about it. Everybody's probably had it at some point in time, right?
Yeah, I think I've had like we talked about. I've had like maybe three. Like I don't get
Yeah.
them often. I've had them like maybe three in my life, and they're the worst. Menjoza says they suck. He has them regularly,
It's
so yeah,
terrible. I mean, it's
they're awful.
terrible. I had a friend of mine, his brother, was a good friend of mine. I'd known basically my whole life. Um, and his brother had to carry one of those pins with him all the time, because he had them, 4 times a week. And I
Yeah,
can't
it's
even
pretty bad.
imagine what that's like to go through, like, life like that. So yeah, I feel for somebody like that. For me, yeah, this may have been the third one in my lifetime. But yeah, you can't see, right? You can't see your
Yeah,
vision.
feel
You
sick.
can't open your eye. You feel sick. You get, and it's weird, man. It's a weird thing, but yeah, man. Nonetheless, so I'm still feeling a little like dreamlike state in a way,
Right.
but we're gonna get through it, man. We got some fun stuff to talk about. We have a very special guest that everybody here knows. And
We
that's always fun.
should have another one. Should have another special guest too. It's
We do. We
yeah.
do. And right here. Right
All
here.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I'm glad that guest remembered to be there.
Well, it was up to me.
Right.
It's a little shaky there for a minute.
Yeah. Let's see. So, trying to think. I do want to, before I forget it, because I am likely to forget it. Let's see here. Use my handy little device here that I've recently gotten. It's not opening stuff on the right side of the screen for some reason.
Move it over. Move it over.
Yeah, I'm moving on over. If I can find where I put this. So I got something that I want to show, and you guys might have already seen this. I saw this for the first time, heard of this. I guess it was Friday on Legend series, or maybe I think it was Friday, Sunday. Maybe it was Friday when Shane was on.
Okay.
So one of the two, but just Jeff was the first person that I heard mention this, and it's something I'm really excited about and want to show. These are right here. This is something I have been wanting for a long time.
Holy moly.
So
I don't know anything about this. I'm already digging this.
So I'm gonna full screen it real quick.
Yes.
This is on Toy Arc. So this is a company called JFS Toys that are gonna make some 1/10 scale figures. So they're not classified size. They're gonna be somewhere between classified and Real American Hero size. But they are the villains of old Detroit. It's Clarence and his whole gang. And
those sculpts look great. Those face sculpts look amazing, dude.
They look fantastic.
Damn.
So there's Steve. And then you got Joe. And then you got Leon. And then you got Emil.
Yeah.
And there's the man. That's the one I've been waiting for. Been trying to. I wanted a Clarence Boddicker figure for so long.
Those look so good, though. I mean, it really does. If that is an accurate representation of that face sculpt, that is a talented.
It looks just like 1987 Kurtwood Smith.
I mean, holy crap, dude.
I hope there's glasses, or they're, maybe they're not shown here or whatever. But if there's not, it's okay. I mean, he's in the movie a couple scenes without them.
Didn't all of us want that shotgun when we were kids?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I think it's just a modified.
I guess it is. Yeah, it is.
But he had that rail on it, man. And I wanted it just, bang. But they're also doing down here, they're doing melted.
Oh, yes.
So I think it says that is a statue that they're doing of him. It's not an actual figure.
Okay.
Look the detail. So this is what the packaging for him looks like, kind of like a VHS.
Those are great. I love the color too. Like, just pop it, just make it just stand out.
So here he is. Like, look at it. His fingers are melting.
Yeah. That really does. Like, that's fantastic, dude. And even the texture on the pants, the jacket, like the folds, the creases, and everything, like that looks amazing. Now, obviously, these early images, we don't have any speculation on what pricing would look like, do we?
No, they hadn't. Okay. They haven't said any pricing on it. But
But
I heard him, and I perked up when I heard him say or type out, like, oh, a RoboCop, and they're doing the gang. I was like, what? And so he dropped the link, and I was looking at him then, and I had to I saved it. I made sure I saved it right then for tonight.
Yeah.
But these things, man, they look. So I just looking all like Jason from Friday the 13th.
Clarence.
Help me, man. Help
Lunchbox,
me.
yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, listen, all of us are probably right in that area, right? We're all
Yeah.
in that. I've told the story maybe a couple of times, but my mom actually took me to see RoboCop when it came out, and I was not even 12 yet. And she had no idea. She had no idea. And so she still to this day, every now and then if I bring it up, she's like, oh my gosh. Here's the
That
parent
was
that
the
takes their,
worst
oh my,
movie.
the cussing and the violence, right? Especially when they take off Murphy's hand with the,
Oh
when
yeah.
Clarence, it's just brutal. And they
Oh, I
light him
had
up,
it over
obviously.
here. I put it back up. I had the bloody stump over here by me, but I put it up.
But she had no idea, everything that was involved in that movie. And she's sitting there, and I really didn't know either, right? I'm not old enough to really understand exactly everything. It's in that time period that, RoboCop, that's a great idea. It's a
Yeah.
great thing, right? And so you just like, yeah, this lines up well with G.I. Joe and Transformers or, whatever, right? And yeah, it was she was shocked when we sat through the entire movie.
And I was, I'm 2 years younger than you, and my mom took me, except
Yeah.
we kind of knew what it was. I got to go see all that shit. So
Yeah, yeah,
uh
no,
I don't
it's
think my mom knew it was quite as bad.
probably not really, even though you may have, because the way media is today, pretty much everything you need to know before you go check
Right.
something out. But at that time, no, it was like yeah, it's rated R or whatever, but you didn't really fully grasp the concept.
No, there was no way to know back then like what this movie was gonna be. So what's
It,
up?
yeah,
Legend series is in the
legend.
house. What's up, man? So I wanted these things look great.
They do. They look fantastic.
So
And
there's the base,
okay, okay, cool.
little stone base, but I mean down to the texture in his shoes. Like,
So when did this kind of come out? When did this news kind
I
of pop out and
just last end of last week, just
okay.
Jeff mentioned it, and
Okay.
he put the link in there. So the villains of
I
old
love the
Detroit.
packaging, man. That's just spot on, dude. I love it. I think it's so great.
I do too. I wish they were 1/12, but I'll take what I can get. They're a little bit bigger. I said in
Okay.
between. They're so
Okay.
I'll take them though. I think they're
Yeah.
supposed to fit in line. What I saw was with NECA, the NECA RoboCop figures that
Okay.
have already
Yeah.
been done. So
Yeah.
like this Murphy that I've got, I will actually be able to have Clarence literally blowing his hand off.
Yes. Yes. What's up, Joe Fan 84? Allison Troy sliding in here. The retro toy princess.
What's going on,
How you
y'all? How you
doing,
doing,
Allison?
man,
Good to see you.
Alex?
And
Yes.
yes, Crow. Oh, you hit it. Go ahead. Hit it again. My
Same
bad. I
time.
canceled you out. Sorry.
Yep. I'd
Yep.
buy that for $1.
I mean, anybody knows what that's from, especially if you were anywhere around during that time period,
Yeah.
old enough to remember for sure. Uh, yeah, dude.
So I don't
That's
think
cool.
there's
That's
any.
exciting, man. That's good news. Because really the only ones you ever really get is just RoboCop, right? I mean, you get Murph
Yeah.
and maybe you might get, obviously you've gotten one from the newer version, right? The remake or whatever.
Yeah.
But overall, no, having the villains, right? Like that's fantastic, man. I'm all about it.
So the
Um,
Toxic Emil statue is going to be 1/4 scale. So that's going to be a big son of a
damn.
bitch.
Yeah.
That's like 18 inches.
Yes. Holy moly. Okay.
So
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know.
Curious about pricing. Curious about pricing. That's the one thing
Yeah.
I'm interested in.
Because they're like unpainted. We don't know what the paint and the wash and all that's going to be. But
Right.
I got to keep my eye out. Keep my eye on those, because those are something that, I mean, you guys have heard me been saying forever that I want a Clarence Boddicker figure. I've tried to get a custom Clarence Boddicker figure made to no avail.
Well, I'm
So
I'm going to tell you too, for anybody that has not played it or whatever, the RoboCop game, Rogue City, uh, that game is really awesome. and they do a great job of just kind of recreating Detroit. They do a good job with the cutscenes and the storytelling. The game mechanics are fun. You know, the shooting in it is fun. You get the classic pistol. You get, you know what I mean? Like you know, the sounds of it. They did a fantastic job. It's gotten pretty much really good reviews. It's been out for 2023, I think is when it came out. And
Yeah,
it's a
late
first person
23.
shooter, but the sounds, right, when he walks and just, you know, the different things you can do in it. So if you've never, if you're a video game, you know, person, if you like gaming, check out RoboCop Rogue City. I have it, and actually looking at this when I get done, to try to get my sleep schedule back on track. I don't know. It's like I probably need to try to go to bed, but it almost kind of makes me want to revisit that game tonight when we get done because it is really good. It's probably find it on sale at this point.
Yeah, I did not play it, but I wanted to. I wanted to wait till it went on sale. Last time I
Yeah,
looked, it wasn't on the PlayStation Store.
I think it's
So
on there now. I got it
it
on
wasn't on
PC
sale.
at the time. Maybe not on sale, but I did
Yeah,
get it on PC, and I could crank all the settings up to max. So all
yeah,
those reflections and all that. Man, it is a fun game. It really is, and
yeah.
they do a good job of recreating some of the characters from the first movie.
When I was when it was coming out, right before it come out, right? Like, and I heard it was coming out, I was like, man, it's like, here we go, another movie adaptation. And like
Yeah. Oh yeah,
you know how it is, like,
that's risky.
and I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it, and then I kind of forgot about it, honestly. And then when it come out, I saw that it was out and it was actually getting good reviews. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I got to put that on the list of stuff to play. And like I said, I've been waiting on it to go on sale. I've taken a little bit of a gaming hiatus for a little while, so been kind of involved more in toys, so I hadn't been playing as much. But yeah, that the game looks badass. So
Yeah.
oh, let's see. I think that was the only thing. We got a stream coming up for Star Wars and for Marvel Legends, and they have not announced anything for a GI Joe stream, but I think they are waiting for GI Joe Day, which is sometime in the 1st of February.
I mean that makes sense. Why, you know, just
Yeah, why do it now? Yeah.
nope. Yeah.
And did you get the email for these that Hasbro has just come out with? These new adult games like
Man,
Fear Pong.
you know what? I think I got the email. I don't think I'd actually opened it because usually certain emails they always come every week on the same day, so you know what day Transformers Day is. You know what day,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. And some of those just because I'm not interested, but I have not. So what are we looking at here? This is
It's
interesting. Fear
it
Pong. Okay.
yeah, it's a version of beer pong, but
Yeah.
it's fear pong. And like you got cards and you got to read the cards, and I didn't know all the rules, but you have to like do whatever the card says. And then they work in beer pong into it. So I thought that was
Oh
it.
Lord, just reading one of the cards right beside the word cut to the left of it
Yes.
for 30
Yeah.
seconds. Yeah, that could be
Yeah.
could be
So
quite an interesting game.
I'll read it if the chat can't see it. So for 30 seconds, act out your favorite sexual position from the perspective of your partner. Moan your own name. So it's do that, or I'm sure there's some kind of mechanic where you can you can get out of doing it if you get the ball in the cup, something
Yeah,
like that,
right.
probably. So
That's
and then they have that one, and then they come out with two versions of Truth or Drink,
okay.
and one is a bachelorette party edition,
Okay.
and then one is basically, from what I can see, it is like it's like Cards Against Humanity mixed with the drinking game.
So is
So
this is not something like Hasbro? I mean, is there anything else like this by them really that's this risque
I'm not sure. They
that you
have so
know
here's
of?
Not that I'm aware of, but I haven't exactly kept up with it.
I haven't either, but this is
So
this is a little surprising to me.
they have Truth or Fear here,
Okay.
which I'm guessing is similar without the drinking mechanic.
Right.
So I have never looked at these. So
Hey, Sharlock, what's up, buddy? Good to see you,
what's
man.
up, Charlotte? How you doing, man?
Um,
What's
so,
the strangest
oh
object that entered
Lord,
your body? Is it still there?
this there, I don't know. I mean, Hasbro, this is a little surprising for me, honestly. Um,
When
it
did
is.
you last think I'm gonna regret this? Did you end up doing it anyway?
I mean, I do. So if you get the right group of people, like stuff like this can be a lot of fun. And and one thing too, yes, I'd say when you're a little bit younger, right? You're out, you're hanging out, stuff like that, right? Yeah, TMI, Matthew. Um, it I guess it depends. Is it a little harder to get a group of people together? The kind of older you get, people have kids and just other
Right.
responsibilities, right? Uh, when you're, in your 20s or whatever, stuff like this. Obviously, we used to have a lot of fun with some of these games, just like this, card games, board games, stuff like that. A little friend group that I had at the time. But I don't know. It'd be maybe a little tough for me to gather some people together and try to play them. But I just from Hasbro, from that perspective, I'm a little surprised because I don't know that they've ever really had stuff like this. Not that I can remember. If
So
anybody knows in the chat, by all means, let me know. But
here's
this is interesting.
the truth or drink sin. You ever entered any kind of eating contest? How did you do? Have you ever indulged in panic buying before a hazardous event? Did you ever eat all those beans?
Those
So
are the red card is the one that like in the bottom one, the bottom question on that is
yes,
kind of
I read
interesting,
that.
right?
Um,
That's yeah,
so
man.
I did read up a little bit on this one, and it is based on the seven deadly sins. So at the top, you can see like
Okay.
wrath, gluttony,
Got you.
greed.
Yep,
So
yep. See it.
this
Yeah.
kind of what it's vibing off of. I think this would be fun. I wish I had enough friends in person to get together and play this.
That's the thing, right? Exactly. That's the thing because even still, no,
this
whatever age, a lot of stuff still is funny. I mean, it's great.
we could turn this into a topic. Like, what do you think is the sexiest non-human
Oh my
animal?
God.
What makes them so alluring? What do you think is
Wow.
the sexiest non-human toy that's not meant to be that kind of toy?
What the hell? Like, yeah, that's interesting. Okay. I mean, it's fun, and I always think games like this are fun. Look, throw in a few beverages, right?
Oh yeah.
And cut up, a New Year's Eve party, something else, right? Where everybody's mingling, hanging out. You could have a lot of fun with it.
Do you have an unsightly friend with a
Holy
very
crap.
attractive partner
Holy
who hit the
crap, dude.
jackpot out there?
Oh, that's great.
So I didn't know if you or anybody else, because I know we're all getting these Hasbro emails. So I didn't know if
Yeah.
you had seen that or if anybody
I
else had
I
seen that.
I
It's
probably
$15.
That's not bad.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's just again, it's having the friend group, right? And it's kind of like, Joe Fan says,
I
all my
just
there it is.
clicked.
Oh, damn it. I know. It's like what the hell? Yeah, all my friends live in Atlanta 5 hours away. I have no one where I am. And that's kind of what it's like, right? Of course, if you have kids and stuff like that. And some of us, your kids maybe be getting in that 15, 16, 17, age range, but it's finding the group, getting the people together. That's the tough
Yeah.
part. It's almost like I'd say, hey, that would be fun at like Joe Fest or something like that. But you want to mix in a couple girls, right? You want to mix in two or three
Yeah.
girls in your group, right?
And there's not
So
many of them at Joe Fest.
not a lot of them, not a ton. There's some, but not a lot. And of course, when you don't know anybody, you say, "Hey, you want to
Yeah.
come over to our room?" It's like,
Come to our room and play
oh,
this
you know,
drinking game
the
mixed
one
with
where they have the bathroom sliding doors that you can't lock or shut all the way for some weird reason if you're staying at the
like
convention center hotel.
like an inch gap in the door.
That was the
Like,
weirdest thing. It's
you
like,
walk by
what
the
the
bathroom, it's like avert my
kind of door?
eyes.
Yeah. Like, what kind of door is this? The hell?
Oh man, I forgot about the door.
Yeah, it
Shit.
was very odd. That's very odd. I did see where I think Shane, Same Time Toys, he was originally going to the DFW, and I think now he's going to Joe Fest. And I have not obviously attended the DFW convention, but man, Joe Fest was a blast last year, and
Yeah,
plan on going back this year. And so I would recommend anybody that hasn't been, if you can make it, Joe Fest is fun. It's
yeah, it's
is
a
really
good
neat.
time.
Yeah.
Jay Astro's in the house. What's going on, Jay Astro?
Hmm.
Yeah, and we'll probably, before this year, we'll probably do another recap stream and show some of the pictures and stuff. Let
Yeah,
people
yeah,
hadn't,
yeah.
run it into the ground for a year, but we'll be hyping it up pretty good. So,
Yeah, Charlotte. That's where I met Sharlock at Joe
yep.
Fest. You as well, and yeah, man, that's maybe this time they'll keep their bar or restaurant open a little bit longer. Just
But
a
I tell you what,
shade.
if they listen to feedback and act on it, they sure had enough of it. So,
Oh, 100%. There were people. Money's to be made. Things are to be sold. It definitely would be in their best interest to maybe stay open another hour at least.
yeah, at least
Um,
another hour.
Those
Maybe
burgers were
it's
good. The pizzas were good. It's good food, man. The bartender, he was a little frazzled, but he got through it once he kind of understood his crowd.
He
Um,
wasn't as used to working the crowd like you are. Not everybody's
Probably not.
mastered the game.
Hmm. But
Mhm.
as a hotel bartender, it probably is tough, but it is at the convention center, so like you have
Yes,
tons of people showing up. What's
you
up,
are
Clint?
would be well versed in that. You would think so. Yeah, that's what we're talking about, Clint. That would be fun, man.
That actually could be fun. Hmm.
But like Bob said, you actually need some chicks, and honestly,
Yeah.
there ain't no time to do that at Joe Fest. As fun as
Not,
it would be,
you're
it
right.
would be more fun hanging out downstairs.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Just being in the lobby area like we were and sitting at the, having a little table and whatever. Yeah. Definitely a lot more fun. You're right. Not a lot of time. But this is interesting again. I'm not gonna to beat a dead horse. I just find it interesting from Hasbro's perspective of putting out something that has like, this type of questions and cards and stuff. But maybe
Yeah,
they've done it
that's
before. I don't know about it, I
yeah.
guess.
That was why I
Um
wanted to bring it up because I just thought it was
yeah.
such a departure from Pokemon Monopoly and Wicked Monopoly and Piggy
Right.
Piggy here and whatever Monopoly that is and
Yeah.
and this Monopoly. So there I guess an original version of Truth or Drink here. So there's another version of it.
Right. I'd be
Uh,
curious to know. Let me ask
Clue.
you guys, especially in the chat, as we say hey to Turk Murphy. Toy Solutions rolling up in
What's up,
the
Turk?
house. Um,
You
did
saw
any of y'all
make
have
sure.
games of Risk, or did you play Axis and Allies? Were those a couple games that maybe some of y'all out there maybe played? I had a friend of mine. We used to play Axis and Allies, and that game would last for like 4 days because we
Yeah.
had to work and we'd come back and we'd play and smoky, drinky, and then pass out. But we left the game board set up on Axis and Allies for like days at a time. We used to love playing that game in particular. Risk was a little more out of my you know wheelhouse maybe, but yeah, I don't know if anybody ever really did that. I know Risk was definitely popular, but Axis and Allies was kind of my jam. I used to love that
I
game, and
never
we
I
would
never really
marathon it.
played I never played either one of them. I remember like we had a few board games and I remember my brother had Risk and I don't know who he ever played it with.
Probably not.
I
He
you know,
probably
I
bought it like a lot of things we do. We buy them with the intention of
well knowing him, he bought it just because it was something to do with military something or
yes,
another and
right.
he so but I remember him having it. I wasn't allowed to get it out and play with the little figures and I never saw him ever set the board up.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's Yeah, like you highlighted. I'm glad you did. Yeah, Crow, big fan of Risk when they made the Moon Conquerable. Um, you know, I think it was more popular than Axis and Allies, but I think because Axis and Allies revolved around like World War II,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, that it was for kids growing up and learning that history, especially, you know, a little easier to digest than others. Um,
I'm
I
more with
yeah.
Jay Astro here. I never really caught on or understood Risk.
It could be, you know, isn't that the funny thing about board games too? Especially ones like that, and look, even going back and playing other board games that even aren't as complicated is sometimes understanding the rules, and you'll read the rules like over and over and over and over. As my son was growing up, there were certain board games that we would kind of play, and we'd end up having to kind of just make up our own rules off of the rules because some of them were just, it was like trying to understand it and when you could play this, when you could do that. And some of them are kind of like that. It's like you
Yeah.
almost just kind of have to do your own thing in a way. And we kind
Well,
of did.
I remember that like you had Life, and we would play
Oh,
Life
I loved
with the
life.
little with the car and the little peg people.
Spin the
Um,
wheel. That's as easy as it gets, right?
I'm
Loved
gonna
it.
go ahead and run in. Completely forgot I still had that up. So we had games here, but like I didn't have anybody here to play. My brother was,
Yeah.
if he was here, he was high. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
if he was here, so
Right.
and that wasn't never our jam, but we had a few, but I
Yeah.
played them at your house.
See,
So we have a few
this is
players in the house.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? I love this because some people are throwing out other board games, and that's why I like sometimes an offshoot thing like this where people kind of
Yeah,
start throwing stuff out like Battleship. Battleship was fun. I used to love
Battleship
doing,
was fun.
you know, even without the electronic version either, right? Just the regular, just Battleship. Um, I never did. Was it Catan? I guess. Strategio was one I never really did get into. We used to play Monopoly, but sometimes Monopoly would just go on forever, like just forever and ever. But like Game of Life
Yeah.
was always one do you remember? Oh, damn it. It had keypads and it was like one where you kind of broke into a place and you could push a button on the little electronic keypad. It had footsteps and stuff. What's it called? Break in.
Not
I'm trying to remember.
not off the top of
I think
my
I still
head, I
have it.
don't.
Uh, Obviously, games like Sorry, we used to
Yeah,
play Sorry all
sorry,
the time.
had sorry.
Clue was a fun board game to
Trouble,
play. Trouble was
trouble.
yes,
Me and my
absolutely.
me and my mom did play. We played Trouble and we played Sorry some. So my
Yeah.
mom was a killer Sorry player.
So, what about Shoots and Ladders?
Never, I never had it, but I know a cousin on my other side had it, and you guys had it, right? Didn't
Yeah,
you
we
guys have
did.
that? So
Yeah,
yeah,
we did. Um, what was the one? Was it something Island?
Fireball Island.
Fireball Island.
Yeah.
Hell yes. And then the one with the catapults. What was that one? The one with the catapults, and
Oh
you'd
yeah,
make
the
your
store.
own
Yeah, the castles.
castles, and you build them, and you would do
Oh,
you shoot the catapult from across the way, and
trebuchet or whatever the fuck.
yeah,
Yeah,
whatever it was, man, somebody will get it. Somebody will put it in
yeah.
there. I wish
I
I
remember
remember.
it. I don't remember what it's called.
Candyland was good.
Candyland.
Yep.
So, but all of those, like
Classics.
I can pull this back up, and like half of them are probably there's Risk. So,
Mousetrap was one
Mousetrap.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did. I had Mousetrap. So Hasbro, when Punk likes to say it a lot, Hasbro is a $1 billion company. GI Joe's $1 million property. This is
Yeah.
why Hasbro's $1 billion company. Is all these games we're talking about
Right.
plus others they're still making.
Right.
I wish I had $5 for every version of Monopoly that there is. So
Right. Yeah, no kidding. Uh
um they GI Joe had a couple board games. I had one of them, and I almost remember at Joe Fest. No, it wasn't at Joe Fest. It was at ICCC here in Nashville. they had the one that I used to have with the stand that you
Oh,
put the
you
cardboard cutouts
talking
in.
about? Yeah, no, we used to play that one all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, we used to play that
Um,
board game all the time. That Joe board game, crossbows and catapults. Wasn't that what
that,
that one was called?
that's what it was.
And but yeah, that GI Joe board game. Yeah, we used to love playing that because they did. You're right. They had the little stands. You could stick the figure cut out right
Yep.
in there of what was probably the file card artwork.
Yep. It was.
Yeah, I remember that. I love, man. I used to love playing that game with you.
I don't remember Tornado Rex, but we so at ICCC, and it might be in my video I did one from that day. There was a vendor that had it and had that exact game, and I should have bought it because if nothing else, the box would be a good display piece. Uh,
Yeah.
but he told me he wasn't sure all of the cutouts were in there. So I didn't buy it, and the box had a tear or two in it. I'm like, this game was so mass produced. I'm sure if I really hunt it down, I can probably find a better example of it. But just
Right.
seeing it right there brought back all those memories. So
Was that
Hungry
the
Hippos.
Yeah, Hungry Hippos was always good. Was that the Commando Attack? I don't think that was it. Because that Commando Attack looks like you have to actually shoot little discs at the cardboard cutouts. But
I
I
don't
was,
think so.
I
No, it was
was
more strategy game.
that right. Oh, here, let's see. Milton Bradley, uh, Live the Adventure. Is that it? No, that's
No, you know
different.
what?
Damn it.
It was the Commando
Was it that one?
because it was that year. It was the 85. It was the 85 year of
Okay.
card art and stuff. So
What was that? Commando Attack game. Anyway, yeah, that was there you go. That was it.
that's it.
Yeah. Um
Allison's
oh
got them
man.
all out there. So I knew, I knew there was an earlier one,
Sweet.
82
82
Adventure.
adventure board game. Okay.
Yeah. So this was the one that we played because it had cutouts. It had an iron on patch and
Yes.
flint that come with it.
That's right.
But it was the 85 characters, and that was, that's like 84 and 85 are my two favorite years. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that was it. So
Tornado Rex is going for $600 on eBay, y'all.
oh man, I'm gonna have to look for that at some flea markets.
We used to have an amazing flea market here in Nashville. It
Yeah.
was one of the best in the Southeast. And they decided to build a soccer stadium where the flea market was held. And they moved the flea market down the hill and into 3 convention style buildings with outside stuff. But it's not as big as it used to be. And a lot of vendors stopped coming
Yeah.
to it. But it used to be amazing. You could find so much stuff at our flea market. You really
And
could.
it's
And
it's
just
still
gone.
not bad, but
It's
it's
not,
nothing like it used
yeah,
to be.
it's not bad. I mean, but yeah, it used to be absolutely amazing. See, that was the one, the live adventure. That was the one that Allison's bringing up there. I just happened to scroll across and see too. Did you guys ever use? Did anybody ever use the board game setup as like a not a diorama, but like where you could put your figures on it, right? Almost like the little car ones that have roads
Yeah.
and, whatever, and you play with your cars on them because
Yep.
it's like some of those board games you can kind of do that with. It's just kind of your background or underneath, right? A little river they had to cross or something like that.
I looked up the Live the Adventure because that was the 86, and I've actually, that poster is behind that poster is right there for the Live the Adventure.
Okay.
Because that was the theme for the year with like low light and
Yeah.
those guys that we're actually going to talk about was that year. And
Yeah.
I forgot because I didn't have that game, so I completely forgot that they did the Live the Adventure one.
Right. Milton Bradley. I love the cover photo though of it. It's just so good.
Yeah, that's the poster. That's what that poster
Sci-fi is
is.
on there too. Yep, low light. Yep, roadblock swinging in off the side. Then you have some rando
There's
kid.
us.
Yep,
That's
yep.
us.
There's us right there, rando kid.
Why they
Yeah,
got to
that's
have
just great
roadblocks
stuff.
swinging in on a
Yeah, I
damn
don't know.
vine in the
That's what I was
game?
just thinking a minute ago, like or a few seconds ago when I saw it. I was like, "What in the living hell is Roadblock doing coming in on a rope?"
They need to be worried more about that big ass snake than they are
And
them bats.
why is Lifeline on the front line?
I know.
I mean,
With the
he's like,
gun,
yeah, he's. Wait a minute.
yeah, he's you got Beachhead over, and there's Leatherneck in the old
Oh, that's
LCV.
great. Yeah. Yeah. And Lunchbox talking about the little thing using micro machines to drive around over those like mats or those cardboard, for your games and stuff. Yeah, definitely. Micro machines. What a great
Micro
spokesman for micro
machines, man.
machines. Dude that could
Yeah, you
talk so
got that
fast.
right.
Derek Holloman, yeah. G.I. Joe Choose Your Own Adventure. Absolutely. Absolutely love those. I love the record books too, where you put the record on and you'd open it. And yeah, Lifeline with a gun crow. I agree. It's like, what is going on here? uh, Prices are weird on board games for the 80s stuff. Um, I could only imagine, I guess, that if it was just the box itself was in just a great shape without, really messed up corners and
Yeah.
bent parts of it and had all the pieces and all that stuff. I could see if you were really into a board game wanting to pay that kind of money, but otherwise, like I just don't know, to pay that kind of money for something that it's one thing to have a figure in still in the package or in the, that you could display or whatever, but a board game's totally different. To pay
Yeah.
that kind of money for a board game when even when we had them, they went on a shelf in the top part of your closet or under your bed, right? Never to be
And I,
seen again for months at a time sometimes.
I guess that's why they're so collectible now. She says they have a very small group of collectors looking to
Yeah,
buy them now.
that makes
So I
sense.
guess
Yeah.
production and popularity that would make the price on them go up. But like you just said, I mean, what'd you do with them? You stacked them up in the top of a closet. You
That's it.
reached up, you grabbed them. You probably held one and grabbed the one you wanted out. So you're
Yeah.
pulling them corners of the box, tearing
Yes.
them box corners up. So I can imagine finding one. In a good condition with a good box. I imagine they are rather expensive.
Yeah. No, I'm absolutely. I mean, I guess so. It definitely be hard to find one with the in actually good shape. For sure. And then a lot of times too, depending on where they were stored, obviously they would be, yellowish, right?
Yeah.
As it kind of starts to turn, color and everything, right? Or whatever. But, yeah,
So Allison just sent me the link for the 82 game. So I don't remember this game at all.
I mean, $60. I remember the game. I didn't have it, but I do remember the game. I like anything that has that like shooting a projectile type
Yeah.
of board game. That's why I said like crossbows and catapults. Like that's a fun game to me because you actually literally have to measure your shots. Okay, I set up my catapult a little too close. So maybe let me pull it back a few inches, right? So I can kind of get that castle or knock those guys off. And I actually had a friend in, elementary school / middle maybe that I used to play that game with in particular. And I like games like that from that kind of strategy where you got to measure your distance and how hard that you have to shoot something or whatever. And this kind of falls into that category too. Um, $60 is not bad. That looks like it's got
No.
everything.
Yep. That's something we'll do one night. I don't want to go down too much of a rabbit
No,
hole,
no, no, no,
Clint.
no, no.
But
You're right.
Joe Games from board games up to modern games, and we
Yep.
might do that as a topic one night.
Yeah.
Um,
Sounds good.
so
Sounds
Allison
good.
said her brother had that game and it was fun, and people forgot about it. I mean, in '82, I didn't get my first Joes till '83, so at '82, I was 5 going on 6. So
Yeah. Oh
um,
yeah.
I don't remember this one, but I mean, it looks cool to have. And Crow says, I want the tripwire that came with the audio, cassette tape, and book.
I
Though
had that.
everyone would hate the classified version, that would make me like it more. I had it.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
That red ass
Uh-huh.
trip
Had him.
wire.
Yep.
Uh,
I still want
uh,
my Brazil. I still want my special missions.
I
God,
think we
I
may.
loved that. I loved it. Loved that Brazil team.
I think we may see them at some point.
I hope
But
so.
I think they're going to get off on a tangent, and I think we'll probably wind up getting some version of those guys, some kind of con exclusive or something. Because I see too many people that want that special mission Brazil set. So
I hope
I think,
so. I really did. I loved those guys. You know that.
yeah.
Uh,
Um, yes, it was Charlotte. Listen and play.
Yep, listen and play. I used to love putting on records too, like the Star Wars soundtrack. Whenever I'd set up a Joe battle in my bedroom and I'd get everybody all set, then I'd throw on like a Star Wars soundtrack, battle soundtrack. I used to love doing that and playing with my guys when I was by myself, and having some kind of movie music in the background. Used to love that. Yeah, there he is, man. I know it's so crazy, and to think about it now, if we got this guy now in classified, we'd be like, oh Lord. But it was just you were all in, right? You were either all in or there was really not a lot of half in on GI Joe at that time. You were kind of
No,
all in.
no, not then. And I wish I could remember what that tape sounded like. I'm sure somewhere there's a recording of it, but
Wish I
yeah,
still
so
had
I did have that guy. That guy he was fun. I remember getting it and I was like, what the fuck? But because
it.
I mean I always really liked tripwire and I had this tripwire.
Right.
And so I just thought he was neat and that was a cool take on this one. But those little one-offs and stuff like that, I think there's enough market out there. They might do some stuff like that at some point. So all
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
So you want to talk about some figures here?
Yeah, let's do it, man, because
All
we
right.
we have a guest. He's been backstage for quite some
The
time, and
whole
I'd like
time.
to I'd like to get him in here and get him
Well,
going and talking about this stuff, man.
before we're getting ready to introduce him, he said, "Give us a second." So
Okay.
I will show you something that I picked up today. I went by Yojo Depot and something that I finally got off the pot on, and just I've talked about maybe picking this up several times. Matthew might probably can appreciate this. I did finally break down and get this Strange Tales Moon Knight.
Oh
It's
yeah.
Marvel Legend.
Yes.
So I've been eyeing this thing since it came out, and I took some I had some extra Joes that I took up to him today and traded in for some store credit. And I was looking around, and then he's had this the last couple times that I've been in here or been in there.
Yeah.
So Allison, thank you for coming by. Have a glorious
Yeah.
time.
Appreciate
See
it.
you in the chats. Thank
Absolutely.
you for coming by. I'll be
Thank
seeing
you.
you soon. Thank you for coming in. But I've a couple times now I've seen this and like
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen it in the store once. When I see this wave in the store, he's the only one that's missing. He and Dracula.
Okay.
So I hadn't opened him yet. I just got him today. So we're going to talk about these new Joes.
Yes. Yes, we
That
are.
I don't have any, Matthew. That's why I wanted to get this one because it's really good looking figure. There's probably better interpretations of him, but I don't have any. So we're gonna talk about take me off of solo here. We're gonna talk about Leatherneck and Xandar and Saw Viper and Dial Tone. And in
Yeah.
order to do that, we have to put our heads together and bring in somebody that has ones we don't have. So let's welcome the King of the North. I like calling him that. So crusty old
There he
crow.
is. What's
Hey, I
up,
like
dude?
hearing that. Hey guys, how you
Yeah.
been? I know how you been. I've been watching
Cold.
backstage, so you're doing fine. Pop didn't
We've
die
been
last
cold.
night, so that's good. Cold, yeah. I know cold.
Man, yeah, it's been chilly. We got a little reprieve today and the next day or so, but yeah, it's been cold, and these old joints they ache quite a bit when it gets down to single digit ish temperatures. Just
Yesterday
rough.
and today were like the two coldest consistent days we've had.
Yeah.
I mean, this year, there's only been 3 weeks of this year, but
Right.
in the
Mhm.
winter so far. So it's been cold. So
Yes.
let's start off with talking about either Xandar or Saw Viper. I will let Crow pick which one of the two you'd like to mention first.
This is first off, because I didn't get to talk to you about, is my sound okay? You guys are
You
hearing me
sound great.
okay?
Yeah,
You
sound
sound
Okay.
great.
Yeah. Good. No, we don't. I don't have to worry about that. Let's start with Xandar. I totally forgot we had him on the list, and I do have him nearby. So,
All right.
Sweet.
oh, come here, you pretty boy.
Yes.
I was going to pull him up on Pulse, but it appears he is not on Pulse.
Well, that's quite interesting. And I could understand why if he's not available, but I can understand
Is
why
that
he's
the
not
case? Was
That's
this a
weird.
hot one?
They're all hot.
They are, because I haven't been on Hasbro for a little while. I knew a couple were low in stock and whatnot, but I never paid attention to which ones sold out first, right? Like,
available. So, uh, your just initial off the top thoughts about this Xandar figure, Crow. Where are you at on this guy?
so
I pulled
I'm the
up
kind
Saw
of
Viper.
Oh, are we
Why
going
didn't y'all
Saw
tell
Viper
me?
first? Or are
No,
we
he
going
said
Xandar?
he said Xandar.
Yeah, that's. I just want to make sure I heard him right.
Never mind. Go ahead,
no,
Cole.
it's all
Sorry
good.
about that.
I don't know, man. Like, it seems like dreadnoughts are the kind of piece of classified where each one now becomes the best dreadnought. Just for a little bit in your head, you're like, this guy's the best
Right.
dreadnought,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so right now, Xandar, I'm like, he amplifies the impact of Road Pig for me because I'm like, he's not the best dreadnought. He's the second best dreadnought, and it's good. But I never really cared much for the character to begin with, so it didn't surprise me. But I don't know. Did you guys love him more than I did? Like,
I I like I like all the different paint apps. I like the fact that you have the gold you have on just one of the boots, two pauldrons, the belt buckle. You've got your chain, right? Your painted chain. You've got on his hand, he's got like a plate on his glove, right? On his right glove.
Yep.
So I kind of appreciate the paint apps, and then on the boots with certain straps, there's the kind of the silver paint. At least I know my lighting is a little low, and probably I try to crank my lighting up a bit. So, but I wish I had something, and you've got him there. So I do appreciate the paint applications. I like him much better than the Real American Hero line. Yeah, you got him. So like I actually really dig this guy. I think this is a major upgrade from the original. And even when you take off obviously the vest, right? Where you've got the tattoos on the chest and everything.
yeah, I haven't done
I
that.
think there's a lot to like on this figure. Um, I saw Baldy Locks, I think, had taken him all apart and said that it looked like on the head that it might have maybe intentionally or early intentions to have different hairstyle like Zorana. Um, but I actually really do like this figure. My biggest problem for me, and I don't know if you echo the sentiment, is the backpack. The pegs on the backpack is super long and the hole is super short and the backpack just
Yeah.
really hangs off the back like with a lot of space in between. And I just don't know that I would display this guy with the backpack on, even though he has the non AliExpress backpack, which actually has the crossbow bolts in it.
Yeah.
Now looking at yours 3-star, is that peg like? I mean, I'm pushing this thing in. It just doesn't. I mean, God dang it! It's bending. Like it's bending on me. Is your peg really long on that backpack, or is it different for? Like you know, it's the
I agree
same.
with. I mean, I noticed on mine. I see what you're saying about it being long. I didn't think it was any longer than any other, but I find
No.
it mine's a good fit.
I mean, I guess as I'm working him in, it's just I guess with the vest and the vest maybe being off a little bit on the back of him, he fits in pretty good. It's fitting better now than when I initially did it. He actually does fit pretty good. So you're right. I mean, that's it is a pretty good fit on there. Um, but I do, man. I love the detail on this guy. Like I really do. I love the hair. I love the bandana or whatever, right? Gator, whatever you want to call it, around the neck and everything. But I do. I actually really like this dude. Way more than I thought I was going to. The only thing is, let me ask you guys: the holster on his right thigh, is that for that blade?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
that's
the
what
little
that's what I thought.
choppy axe. Yeah.
Right. It fits kind of, sorta, right? But it also looks like maybe a little bit of a longer pistol might have been able to fit in there. I do like the strap on the front of the holster on his chest that you can push that in and clip
Mine
the
kept
strap.
popping out. Like, did yours pop out a lot?
So far, so good, actually. So far,
Yeah,
so good.
mine's good now, but for the first little while, I had to really work it to get it to sit.
I think my really only other thing, because I don't have any real complaints with this figure though. Now that I've figured the backpack out, because I'm stupid, is the actual handle on the crossbow or the gun itself, the rifle, is really short. Like it's a
It
very
is.
very short handle, and in his hand, the way it fits, it doesn't quite go all the way down. So when you're wanting to put that finger on through the trigger, or on the trigger, it is a little weird. I'd like it to be just a little bit longer, but I appreciate, I appreciate it. It's This gun's a little harder. It's not super flimsy, right? I think that's one thing we've seen throughout these newer figures is the guns are actually more solid. That plastic is more, solid than in the past where they're not as bendy. And
Well, they're
I
also
like that.
new molds too,
New
right? Like they're
molds.
not
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
new molds,
Right.
new plastic, right? So
Hmm.
I, what'd you
What would
guys
you,
think of sorry, I
I'm
was gonna
sorry.
ask you what you thought about the pauldrons not coming off of Xander. Like, the other pauldrons we've seen recently, they've been an option. This is not an option now.
So it's like a double-edged sword in my opinion. And a double-edged sword as far in that pauldrons being able to come off sometimes though because the looseness depending on how much you play with your figures can spin around, drop down the arms, like you know what I mean, like, and never quite sit right. And so you got to spend a lot of time readjusting that regularly, especially if you do a lot of pictures. um, and I think it's a little weird that you can take the vest off but you can't take the pauldrons off,
That's
right?
yeah, that's kind of where I was going. Like,
Yeah.
one's removable, and there's a time Classified used to attach pauldrons to the vest, which was bad, or under a layer of the shoulder. And
Right.
so I was wondering why they made that call, but I mean, they're nice pauldrons. I'm not going to take them off anyways, but
No, they look great. They look
uh,
absolutely great. I love it with the horns and the skull, and then on the left arm you have kind of the chain mail in a way on
yeah.
there too. Which I mean I know on this is kind of hard to see. I really don't even need to put my hand up there. This camera's pretty solid. But yeah, that chain mail coming off of there, as opposed to this side, which just has the skeleton or the head with the horns. Um, but I really like this figure way more than I did the original line, and I think they've done a great job with him. Would it benefit us to have a different head mold, like one more head mold, I guess, to put on him? I don't know. Maybe give him a little different look. Maybe short hair. Maybe a mohawk. I don't know. Something crazy like that. But I don't know. I dig him, man. I really do. I like him so much more than I thought I would.
What about
This is the one at once we saw him and got to see the actual product images.
Right.
This is the one that I was looking the most forward to out of the wave, and I love it. Like everything they did. I don't think the shoulders I don't think the pauldrons limit it that much because there's a little bit of a gap there. They do limit it a little bit, but with this guy, I'll take that for these badass pauldrons. Not being able to take them off. It is weird that you can get the vest off of him and not the pauldrons.
Yeah.
But but I see different things from different people. Like I've had zero problem with the chest holster for his pistol. I didn't know it was an issue till I saw other people talking about it online. And that may be how people feel when they see me talk about the ankles, because that seems like I'm the one that gets them. But he does, his left ankle is pretty weak.
Is it?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's the only thing about having those where you can rock them, right? You can rock them side to side, front and back. Yeah. You're going to run into that. That option.
Like Eazy-E's car.
Yeah, right. So let me ask you guys then, is that an option you would rather do without with the ankles? The ability to rock them side to side, or up and down, front and back. What would you rather just be front and back and not be able to twist the ankle like it's broken? I mean, does that matter to you, or would you if you're going to end up with loose ones sometimes right out of the package?
Darren, do you want to answer first? Yeah.
Yeah, for me, as long as there is a boot cut or an ankle cut to turn the leg some way or another, I'd be okay with just up and down, because although most of the issues that I have with them, they're not the side to side, they're the up and down, but I think the overall movement of them, it just loosens everything.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you have the ability to turn the leg and rock them, which way, because you gotta distribute the weight some way or another.
Right.
As long as the articulation somewhere below the knee is there, I would be okay with just front and back.
So,
Crow, what about you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a good question. And there's just a part of me that goes, you don't go to regression when you're working a competitive articulate 6-inch figure line. If you've got a range of motion, to get rid of it would seem counterintuitive. And it occurs to me, one of the reasons I'd want the ankle rocker the way it is and not to limit that is we have ninjas all over the place in a Joe line.
Yeah.
And if you start thinking about the way certain stances are in fight stances, like I said, I got him in a crawl, but I couldn't have that flat foot if the legs were at certain angles. You need that ankle rocker to kind of get some pardon me, some poses with certain characters, but it's not the kind of pose that works for a lot of Joe characters. It's just, like I said, the ninjas, quick kick, certain guys that are flight of foot, would you say, right? So
yeah, I get that. Makes sense.
Hang on just a second, Crow, because you just said something that piqued my interest here. So.
I like a Judy chop.
No.
I missed.
Oh, you missed? How'd you miss that?
Yeah, I've got two screens going. That's why. So I'll stop reading the chat.
No, I'll do it again for you.
Like a Judy chop.
Oh, you know what? Because it keeps telling me I got to tap for sound for that.
Oh, okay. You missed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Damn, your jokes are great for everyone else but me.
So let's see, was it Jay Astro? And I want to make sure I understand this. The arm range does seem limited. Are you talking about Xandar?
Yeah, up with the pauldrons.
I thought so. Yeah. Yeah, it is a bit, and without being able to take them off or move them around, right? Slide it a little bit one way or the other. So that is true. I mean, it is a little limited. So
the butterflies are definitely affected by it. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Say what's up to Daredevil Dave. So
hey,
you got to use that beauty chop.
So you talked about the second head for Xandar, and it got me thinking, and I was like, you know what? I think you just touched on something that shows something very different with this wave that Hasbro is doing now. Like they're making good on some things that some chips they said they'd put into the game. We're getting better weapons, less gummy. We're getting better allocation of plastics, right? We have
Yeah.
some new decos that have been appearing on these guys, like Leatherneck. From what I've seen of your reviews, and I think Pop's reviews, he's got a little radio on the left side of on one of his thighs that appears again on dial tone, right? With Xander, you got a lot of new deco on there. And maybe that's why we're not getting second heads for no good reason. You know, hair pieces that people maybe like, but one of them sits in a drawer for the rest of its
Yep.
life, right? Like
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. I'm with you.
it's
That's
money
true.
allocation.
And
So
Yep.
and I'm okay with that, right? Like
Yep.
I'm okay with that. I mean, I think there's certain figures that maybe whether that's in the comic, whether it's in the cartoon, maybe whatever, um, that you maybe would want to have a second head for, right? Or
um,
certain troop builders, right? Different skin tones or whatever, right? But yeah, no, I'm with you. I think I do appreciate some of the other details over an extra head that, like you said, also would probably sit in a Ziploc bag or in a drawer, right?
yeah.
I don't need a second head with this figure, man. I like what they put in. Like you said, they got a Crosa, they got to allocate it somewhere,
Uh-huh.
and I love the gold and the extra tooling and the sculpting and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm good with this figure. I'm really impressed with this figure. You know, even though I had the issue that I had with mine, but that was my own fault. You know, as
Well,
far
yeah,
as
I mean, where you
yeah,
order it from and
yeah.
whatever,
So,
sure.
but the way that he came out overall, I absolutely love it. So let's see.
So
Aaron, the toy enhancer in the house.
what's
What's
going on,
going
Aaron?
on?
What's going
AA
on,
Ron,
Aaron? Hey,
Crimson Cobra Commander in the house.
Triple C off the top rope. So then,
That
so
is not
then,
true.
before, so right. So, do you want to move on to a guy that I think all three of us have before we get into maybe a guy that a couple of us have, and then another one that only one of us have? Is in
Yep.
Saw Viper
Saw
maybe
Viper.
next.
Yeah,
Let's get into that one. Crow, your initial thoughts on Saw Viper.
I I feel like I should hate him a lot more than I do.
Okay.
I like some of the concepts. Others I'm just like, that's ridiculous. But I really like the fact that they gave us like some choices to do something about it. If you don't like the character, there's kit you can take away. There's things you can do with it. I actually do really like this character. I just hate the fact that the entire character is about a stupid gun, right? Like
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
it is.
Yeah.
There's no character here. There's just the gun, and they've added a chainsaw. And I've already explained on my own videos why this is. I see what you're doing. Yes, he's called the Saw Viper,
On the
throwing a
nose.
saw. But yeah, exactly. But this right here tells me that you didn't listen to a lot of the people in your staff. I'm sure they told you this was stupid.
Somebody had to be sitting at that table going, no, it's not
No.
what it is.
Have
No.
you ever used a chainsaw or a rifle? First off. And then having this double feed idea. I mean, like you can do something about that. You don't need the box, right?
I'm having
But
issues. I'm having
No.
issues with
yeah,
that in particular personally. I am.
yeah, it is. It's a really bad gun with a cool buck attached to it.
It's a really bad gun with a Spider-Man goon attached to it.
Yeah, but you can't get rid of the gun. You have to keep it because it's so
Yeah.
comical that it's like integral to him.
But what 3-star in his review also, and obviously most people probably found out, the Real American Hero, the original one, the gun measured to this one, considering the size of the figure, the original is even bigger, right?
We're about
yeah.
we're about to look.
So
Yeah.
I found that fascinating because that gun is in reference to how the size of that figure compared to this one. It's like just how big that thing is, and yeah, I mean that's and you put the chainsaw on the end, obviously.
Yeah, this is the real
Yeah,
American
you
hero.
zip tied
Yeah.
it on there. But if you just look from barrel to stock, it's a little bigger.
If you Google the comic right now, the pages, because I just watched all this again. The gun the Saw Viper mows down these critical Joes with is an
Uh,
M60. It's the same gun
Yes.
rock and
Yeah.
roll used,
right.
right? So
Yes.
I'm like, okay, so where does this fiction gun steal the show when this standard everyday Saw Viper that just, punched the clock, put on the uniform, showed up, said, shoot that, okay, brap, and now that we've made this, like there's, again, I like the Saw Viper, but this gun is just hilarious.
Grimace. Yeah,
Grimace.
I had to throw that up there.
You know-
Oh, I'm trying to
actually
read, but
actually put Grimace, if you were looking and not just listening in my review, actually I had Grimace pop up a few times.
and
yeah,
I like, color wise and everything. I mean, it is, and I think it's fine. For me, the gun and the saw pose just some issues that I'm just not real crazy about. Um, as far as the backpack, yeah, obviously you feed your rounds into the back of it. But even that, it doesn't stay on for me. If you're somebody that's going to be really messing with this guy a lot, that thing is going to come off often as you try to pose him. And I would like to a little more secure way for that for the ammo to somehow fit in better so that it doesn't just come out as easy. I like the helmet, I like the ability to take the top part of the helmet off and just kind of show off just the baklava on there. I'm okay with that. But really, honestly, in my personal opinion, it's kind of a rather boring figure for me.
oh,
I
really?
just, yeah, I mean, the ability to take off the pauldrons and the gear up top, but not the bottom. Looks like, if you wanted to catch him that way, he was in mid dress,
Yeah, he
like,
is low
um,
armored. Yeah.
I mean, at least
So here you
not being
go.
able
If
to
you want to
take
see
off
what
the
he's
stuff on the bottom.
what he looks like, just getting ready to go out and
Right,
snatch some
right.
purses. There he is.
Oh, that's everything off, eh? Oh, wow.
Uh-huh. And like 3-star said, if they'd have just put a Cobra, sigil or something on his front, I think people would actually put him that way. They'd actually put him that way, just like that, But it's, I just
He looks
this,
like he should be webbed to a wall in New York.
Honestly, man, I'm looking at that right now because I realized that waist gaiter doesn't come off, or else you've got your blank
No.
buck crotch, right?
right.
But the way I never tried to take the vest off, and now I have to because I love that.
I
But
do
all I'm
too.
thinking is, this is Cobra's answer to Beachhead. This is Cheechhead, right?
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
it took some work to get it in there, so I'm not going to do it because I don't want to snap this handle. But I actually have him with the original
With the old, yeah.
gun
Yeah.
all on it. So
Yeah.
He's just not super exciting to me. I don't know if it's just the color and there's not much variation there really under and over as far as armor and underwear is concerned, whatever.
If they had
I don't know.
given him the regular saw with the handled system that they used on this, man, that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
that
Be
was
awesome.
if they wanted to do the little saw, do a slightly scaled down version of the original gun and slap that saw on it, make it removable, and it would have been fine. But
Yeah.
it's like you said, Crow, like this is made no secret. This is my favorite Viper character is the Saw Viper. I was disappointed in the way it come out. And like you said, the whole thing is about the gun. They go out of their way to point out that It is a semi-automatic weapon. He's a semi-automatic weapon. Viper,
Yeah.
what in the fuck is he going to hit when this is the only way he can hold that gun? Semi-automatic.
Yeah, it's all
right.
So all the sight systems are supposed to be relayed through his helmet, right? But like again, that's not clearly communicated at any point
No.
either. The way they
that's
wrote the
head
gun
cannon.
up,
You got to make it work.
And again,
exactly. Yeah.
just so you guys know, I need to look on the floor for the saw itself because it just fell out again. It's probably the 10th or 12th time since I got him out and opened him up and started kind of gearing him up that thing has fallen off and gone right on the floor. And so those are other things for me, right? Is that how does the stuff securely fit? Does the ammo box stay on there? Does the, does this chain, right? You know what I mean? Like if your ammo, does it stay in? Is it secure? Is this handle right on the gun when he's holding it? Does this thing come out of the peg? Do the pegs come out, right?
Yeah.
Which for me, when I move it around, yeah, it does. And those are all things for me that I don't like. Now, when you're just going to pose it and leave it, fine, big deal, right? I think we'd all agree.
If you're going to have this dude set up static on a pose, I don't like the gun. I don't have the little saw on it, but this is badass. This pose right here, holding the gun out.
That's all you can really do with it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you can't really do much more than that.
Yeah.
It's all you can do.
And that's what I mean. It's that handlebar system on the gun that I do like about it. But if you were to drop the belt of ammo, drop the backpack, and just put a box on there, it'd be fine. I wouldn't be half as critical because, like you were saying about the pieces fitting, this is the best fitting ammo box I've ever had on one of these guns.
Yes.
Like this baby locked in,
Right.
So
And
I just don't want to try to
flick.
It's just feeding the other side of it. For me, it just keeps coming out. There's no way to secure it very well.
You've got to pop the box about a third of the way back out the other side and kind of squeeze the belt in, and it'll stay in.
They have to share that slot.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but I mean, really, you're not going to have the feed tube with the box on anyway, or you really shouldn't. So, whatever. So, you're being too rough on the Saw Viper guy.
Listen, I could fully understand people would really, really actually enjoy this figure. I get it. I do. And you guys seem to more than I do personally, but those are just other, little issues that I have. Doesn't mean he's not, he's not an actual cool figure, but slow issues I have.
How do we take such large issues?
Action Figs real quick popped in for me.
Action.
Interrupt you, Crow. What's happening?
No, that's okay.
Ed, how you doing?
I was going to say, how could we take such issue with the gun and then sit there and make a big deal about Cobra Law figures and how great Raptor was? Like, okay, it's sci-fi. Like, yes, we're hammering that point home. It's a stupid gun, but it doesn't ruin a figure just because one component is bad. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
no,
Bobby
I'm with
Wald snuck in here too. What's going on, Bobby?
And I always love the, I love the imagination part of it. I never really have a problem with things that they don't have to make sense. I don't need to know that this gun is an MP whatever, or I don't need to know that it's this and that this is how it cocks and this is how you're able. I don't really care about all that. I think for me, more of just the accessories and some of those little things. If you're going to have all that stuff, I just like some of these figures sometimes to have a little bit better way to have them fit or stay on or various posing, ways to pose the figure. There's really no other way you can pose this figure than the way you guys have him. That's it. There's nothing you can do. Yes.
If you want him holding the gun, that is about it. So,
and
Sherlock said he lost one of the saws as soon as he in the recliner.
Well, and I'm gonna give me 1 second because I need to turn on my flashlight.
You need to find yours.
I do, and the helmet actually, as I took it off and he popped off. So I just want to make sure I don't roll over them with my chair. So bear with me for just a quick second here.
That one, the helmet shouldn't be too hard to find.
No, just look for Cyclops from Wish.
Yeah. And also Sharlock highlighted a second ago. He said somebody put the mutt head on Saw Viper to make Robert Skelton, and mutt is probably about as close in the classified line as you could come. But see, I can't do that in my head. It would work. It is close
Yeah,
to him, but in my head, that's just mutt in a Saw Viper outfit.
but
I can't do
it's
it.
but it's there, right? Like, I mean, people
It's
can.
there.
It's good. People know that the saw viper is a little bit more relevant than most other vipers, just in
Yeah.
what came of him, right?
Right.
Like to
Yeah.
me, my favorite viper is probably going to be the night viper when they come out with that. I'm probably going to be give me boxes of that thing, right? And I'm sure the saw viper will look good, but I can't name one of the night vipers the way I can a saw
Well,
viper.
there wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't ever a individual. That I think that's even for me. Like I like the Saw Viper so much, but that's why is because he had that lore in the comic, and I loved it. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
all
A
right.
lot of people.
What anything else on the Saw Viper, guys? I think we've. I
No,
mean,
I'm
he's
good.
good, not great. But I like him. I liked him better than I thought I was going to,
Yeah.
because when I saw it, it lowered my expectations because I think I had him built up too much in my mind.
Mhm.
So I was happy when I got him. For the most part, I have three of them. So
Yeah, and I'm about to get my third, I think. I do like them with the new Vipers coming from the retro. They're gonna fill out squads of Vipers nicely. But I meant to ask is what do you think of the Balaclava head? Are you for that in future models or against it?
I'm okay with it on this just because of all the shit that's on his head already. I mean, not
Hmm.
only, in front of the bottom, right? The little piece that's covering his mouth, I guess, or whatever, his neck, so to speak. But then you have the helmet as well with the visor and all that. I'm okay with it in that respect because if you're gonna have this guy out, you're probably gonna have the helmet on him anyway. So,
I,
yeah,
I
that's
think
just how I feel about it.
it's been you mentioned it, Crow. He looks like the tracksuit mafia dude. Um,
Hmm.
I don't mind it, but I would have preferred two separate head sculpts for this guy because it would have slimmed the helmet down instead of looking so much like a bubble head. It would have really slimmed the helmet down if it was a separate head sculpt. So
So
I don't
that's a good
mind
point.
it.
I'm wondering if they did that on purpose because Frag Viper would look so obnoxious if nobody else had a head kind of like his.
Right?
Yeah, and I actually dug him out. I have him. I have the original right here because I knew eventually we're going to be talking about this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Bolo King.
Uh-huh.
Yep,
I mean,
homecoming
honestly,
queen of
guys, like
Cobra.
my favorite Viper is still just the original, like that first Viper, the red and the blue, and
Oh,
then the
yeah.
that's
I
that's
didn't.
personally that's my still my favorite.
Oh, I
I
still
love
love
that.
these guys.
I love that look. The alley's cool too. And I remember when I got him, I was like, okay, I'm not quite in love with this guy, but the yeah, I don't know. There's something about that first one, that look, and even the ones, the 3-pack that came out. I don't know, man. Like I just dig those. I do.
Yeah.
Woody said
Uh,
he is going to buy all the night vipers. So Crow, you're not going to even be able to get any.
you know
Well,
what's interesting? Let me ask you guys. There are many other figures that we still haven't gotten, right? Individual figures, not troop builders. So, are you okay with seeing another troop builder, lore, no lore, whatever, comics, no comics with this guy, Saw Viper, just to belabor a point? But, or do you want sci-fi? Do you want, Lifeline? Do you want? You see where I'm going with that? Like, are you okay with
yeah.
another troop builder? Or
Well,
can we get some more individuals? Like
can I answer
that's
that
where I'm
one
at.
first? Can
Yeah,
I answer that one
absolutely,
first? The down south.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, you gotta look. Everything like it's not an even fight between Joe and Cobra when it comes to who's got what.
Right.
Basically, Joe is a massive amount of rogues gallery individuals. And
Mm-hmm.
Cobra is a massive amount of troop builders with a few rogues leading them, right? So once you get those rogues out of the way, all you're left is with, look at my snow serpents, look at my vipers, here's some
Yeah.
more eels, right? While
Yeah.
Joe's still trying to fill out their roster. But I get your
Yeah.
point. And
Yeah.
it does kind of lead to the point of, well, we know we're getting a green shirt at some point in the line. Did Joe need the green shirt already when they still had Lifeline, Wetsuit, other Joes? Like, to your point.
Yeah. I was just curious. I mean, I don't know if that's something for some people they're like, no, I want these individuals. I want these, and then some people really love the troop builders, right? They
Mhm.
love it. Having
They
those
have
figures.
to they have to space out the Cobra
Yeah.
individuals, the
Yeah.
generals or the captains or whatever you want to call them, because there's not as many of them. I mean, there's a lot,
Mm.
but and there's so many types of Vipers. They've got to eke out the Crimson Twins and the Copperheads and the Zartans or whatever. So I'm fine with troop builders, but I don't think we need one every single wave. Um, and that will also help with people's pocketbooks as well.
Mhm.
People that's an issue for, because there's been times that when I order them, because I get two of the troop builder guys in most cases for Cobra, and there's been times I've been like, oh, good, I'm glad they didn't release a bunch of troop builders, because that's 50 or whatever more dollars I'm going to get what I want on my shelf.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see them space that out, like that last wave with the Iron Grenadiers and the bats. Like, I didn't buy shit for a minute after those guys hit. I couldn't, because if I wanted
Yeah.
to get the bats that I usually get,
Mm-hmm.
so I want to see them spaced out personally.
Yeah.
Todd
Yep.
C's in the house. What's going
Yeah.
on, Todd? Let's read through the chat here. So we need to move on to another figure here. So now we got to get into the contentious part. So who you guys want to do next? Yeah,
Show me Leatherneck.
Leatherneck.
You want to
Okay.
see Leatherneck?
Yeah, show me Leatherneck.
Word.
I've been watching Leatherneck videos.
Right.
And we did it
Well-
this way because we don't have dial tone and Crow doesn't have Leatherneck. So
There we go.
So right off the top, to also mention my backpack problem, I was scared that I was going to snap this sucker trying to get it in. I mean, when I first put his backpack in, I literally was worried that I was gonna. It bent so badly and stressed it so badly. Now, as I've gone more and more and working it in, obviously it starts to get on there. But I did initially right off the top, just and that peg, you probably can't see it here at this point, but it is bent. Let's see if I can get a good view of it with some light. See, you can see it.
Mine wasn't that difficult to get in.
See how it's bent already?
Yeah.
And it was right. That's the first thing I tried to do was put the backpack on him. And it just bent that sucker sideways. And I thought, I need to just leave that alone because it was about to snap. I'll give you my initial impressions on this figure. I love the molding. I really do. I think this is a home run for me. The glasses fit well.
Saw that. Yeah, that's what I
these
keep
are the
hearing.
best. These are the best glasses that we've had yet.
If I can get that focus on there. But yeah, the glasses fit really well. I love, like you said, the radio on the left hip. The one thing I didn't like is the little, I call it the copper fit band, I guess, on his right wrist that's on there when you pull him out of the box. I did not really care for that because it's so flimsy that it will just fall right off, especially if you're trying to work that stock in by his arm and get the finger on the trigger and everything. Then that little, KIA band or whatever, it's just going to just kind of pop out. But the knife fits really securely in the sheath on the chest. we get the good solid gun plastic. I mean, just good. Like I love that now. I hate that older flimsy stuff. So, but I do. I really like this guy. It's just a classic. The hat, everything about him. The camo pattern is good. Let's see. I know one thing that
So
I guess with the knee pads is just something you have to kind of hide those joints, and there's just nothing great solution for that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really like this guy. The watch on the left wrist, everything. Yeah, I'm good with it.
so I watched Darren your video today, but I want to hear you go over it again because you had some favorites on this part as well.
On what, the knee?
On the character. Well, yeah, you want to talk about the knee a little bit for everybody, or
I do.
not your favorite, I guess, but
No, the knee was not my favorite. So getting this guy out, moving him
Yeah,
around,
man.
that happened to the right knee, to
Damn.
the back of it. Did not use any more pressure than I use on any other figure.
Right.
And I got a couple other pictures of it. This is after I'd
Sucks.
worked it around a little bit, and it
Oh,
sheared right off. There's
I
just
mean, that's
another
crazy, dude. Did you
shot.
did
I've
you
never
heat
had a
it?
figure do this.
Did you heat him up too, or did you just
Not
kind of just working him
no.
like that?
I didn't heat him up beforehand, but I
Right.
mean, I know when I need to stop and heat a figure,
Sure.
and I was not
Yeah.
at that point yet. I was working the joint around and
Right.
did not I was having some resistance, and yeah, boom. So that but the knee still moves, it still bends. I'll show you in a second. It still works, but eventually this is it's going to pop the whole hinge part out.
Yeah.
So I did have that. I'd never had this issue with another figure in this spot that I had here. So I had I mentioned I was going to contact Hasbro. I wrote them an email on Sunday. Of course, Monday was Martin Luther King Day, and I got this response today. So thanks for taking the time to reach out. Saddened to learn your experience. Blah, blah. Since your satisfaction's my goal, placed an order for a replacement for you. Your new product will arrive shortly. And then they want the product codes. They want the date code and the vendor code for the figure. And I got this email, a customer service satisfaction survey, and the email that my order for Leatherneck had been placed all at the same time today. So I have a new one on the way.
Well, I mean, that's one thing, honestly, that they actually have been pretty good about, right? I mean, because you've had multiple things here and there, and payment, issues, and address and this and that, whatever. But overall, I think overall their customer service has actually been pretty good.
It has for me.
Right. I mean, now I don't know anybody else that maybe has had had those other issues with their customer service, but it seems to me like that's at least one aspect that they've put a priority on, and trying to make sure if you have an issue, they'll send you a replacement, right? And just like anybody else, any other company, it's like, hey, can you send us some pictures? Can you make sure that you have the whatever product code, whatever it is, right?
I went ahead and
put
those in the email that I wrote. Yes, I put my order number in, and I knew they were going to ask for pictures. So the ones I just showed you guys, I enclosed in the email, and they did ask me for the product code and all that, which is found on the feet as well as on the back of the box. They did ask me for it, but they had already issued the replacement. So I did respond, and I just took a picture of the feet. And I was like,
look at that. So that's the product code for this right there. If you ever need to do it, it's there on the foot, just like you said. Jeez.
So I've had good luck with them replacing stuff for me, and the only thing they have ever wanted me to send back was mole rat. I had to send 2 mole rats back.
Oh.
And one of the ones that they sent me as a replacement, the arm was off when I opened it.
Keep it going.
Son of a
Yeah,
bitch.
mine was
And-
rattling around in there too. So
And
Play
one of them, they had to refund me because they didn't have any more. So,
yeah,
but story for another time. But Leatherneck overall, I am highly impressed with this figure. This, much as I like Xandar, this is the best figure hold on there, Larry. Out of the 3 that I've got, can you believe that
the best
bracelet
figure.
did
I
not
can't believe it
come
didn't
off?
come off. I stuck mine in the box. I just didn't get this. I'm not gonna sit here and.
So tell us about Dial Tone, Crow.
Well, I wanted to say I'm waiting to get Leatherneck, and now you guys have helped solve a couple of mysteries that I'm starting to see why I see what I see on Dial Tone. There's some reuse going across this line, and before I get into Dial Tone, I'd be wanting to look over at the digital renders for Footloose right now to see if he has that metal bracelet on there, because I think that's why we're seeing it on Leatherneck. Is just, remember I said it, like, they're watching the money with how many pieces they're giving, what pieces they give, how
Right.
much it'll cost, right? And it fills out a figure, right? And nobody I've heard yet can understand why Leatherneck, the hardened Marine or whatever he is, has this hippy dippy bracelet on there. But if
It
you look
looks
at
like
Footloose, it would make sense.
Yeah,
Okay, so-
there's a couple different images of Footloose though. One has 2 watches. If you look at the color with a colored background, like blue background or whatever, on the render, and then another one he has just a watch on his left wrist, but nothing on the right. That's what I'm seeing right now. The one they posted up here, it is a zombie. Yeah, his arm falling off. Mole rat. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But from what I can tell in these renders on Footloose, good Lord, come on, baby. There's Frag Viper. All right. Yeah, I don't see it, but
No,
no.
All right. So on the bracelet thing, the original Leatherneck did have it.
Mm-hmm.
And
he did.
I watched
Okay.
Yes. And I watched Bobby B's review on Leatherneck, and B pointed out that it may be a KIA bracelet.
So I heard that as
fallen
well.
comrade.
Yeah.
Even though it's
I
not
heard-
shaped like it.
Right.
And
I mean,
that's
it's round.
why. So
yeah.
I had also, I think you had mentioned it on yours about the holistic bracelet, the one that, the little bit of brass and copper, and it channels some positive energy or whatever.
Yeah.
That was why I was thinking, is that something we'd find on Footloose? Because it makes more sense for Footloose.
So here's the render of him, and in this render,
yeah,
he's got 2, right, like on both wrists. It's like 2 watches, I guess.
Well,
I'm not
one
sure
might
what
be
the
a
other
GP
piece is.
Might be a GPS on one and a watch on the other.
But
right?
but the other thing though is if you look at this render on him, that was, I think this is the one they maybe presented on screen when they kind of revealed. But then if you look at another render, it looks a bit different. And I'll show this, which this one's kind of odd in my opinion, because see, then up at the right shoulder you have kind of this thing.
The Joe Pro.
But that render, go up to the banner.
Isn't that
on
weird?
that.
Yeah, I want to go up because I'm trying to figure out what is this future figure digital
So
render
that's Toy
concepts.
House.
That's a concept.
Yeah, these are concepts.
That's the roll
right.
robles, dude.
But it's not. But definitely not the one that they revealed,
no.
which doesn't have that thing on the right shoulder.
People have
and,
confused.
whatever.
Yeah, people have confused his stuff before as leaks, and it's been explained.
I have an issue with that stuff happening, but
yeah,
the renders are great. It's just they're not always specified that it's not Hasbro. So Leatherneck is great. I'm anxious to get Dial Tone Pop Blender. I have a special love for Dial Tone. So tell us about Dial Tone. I'm going to put you on solo.
Yeah, it's actually funny because I just watched Punk do his video on it, and he talked about how he has a special love for dial tone. I did a video on it. I have a special love for dial tone. Like everybody, something about this character just stood him out in the back in the day, and I think they've modernized them the way that we've probably seen from since they announced them coming. Like everybody can kind of see where the modernize is, but they've taken away a lot of that senseless 90s cyborg looking tech that used
Yeah,
to
Yeah.
hang off of them everywhere for no good reason,
yeah,
and they've made it relevant, but they haven't taken away from what he used to be. As far as the colors and the design, they did take a bit of color off the glove from the original, but look at that Cary Grant face, man. Like, sorry, here.
no, you're good.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
He looks good. Looks like the face looks good, man.
He is
The
just missing
back
Eyes.
a martini and a slim cigarette is all Dial Tone needs.
the backpack is something that
Yeah.
I absolutely love that they did. I do.
Right.
I love it. Oh my
So everybody
gosh.
keeps asking if that's an eyepiece or a mic piece, and the reason, like, it's a mic piece. He's a radio operator first and
Right.
foremost. But the reason it would lend confusion, I talked about this, is this grenade keeps hitting it and riding it up to where it's parallel with his eye, right? So when you get it, maybe put some heat up to your grenade to just slide it over a bit, and then let it cool down so that that's not in the way anymore,
Okay.
right? But I think you'll like the way it opens up on
That's
if
awesome,
you're
dude.
yeah. So if you're like me, and even though they give you a spot to put the cell phone, like if you
Uh-huh.
don't want it on the rifle, you can slide it in there, but that's really gummy. You could slip it in there and forget about it and just not lose your cell phone,
Yeah,
right?
man.
But it still has
He
some of the
looks.
original design look. Like you can see those circles are still there, but now they're brown and not gray.
It's
Oh yeah,
great,
he
man.
looks. He looks good. So
Yeah.
Sabir. Uh.
There's that radio I said he didn't need,
Okay.
Yeah.
right? Like
Right.
Leatherneck has it,
It
makes
is a little
sense.
redundant for him. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely. Yeah. But
Well,
sorry, I cut you
Sabir
off. Sabir
says.
was talking.
Yeah, he said his dial tone is on the way finally. So from where? Where do you order from BBTS? I think. I just want to know who's actually shipping him because I know I think I know where Punk got his from. I hadn't had a chance to watch his video yet, but I'm pretty
I
sure I
think
know
he
where
said
he got his.
I think Punk said he got his through Amazon, right? And the rest will
No.
be shipping soon. I thought that's
Oh
what I heard
well,
him say on the video.
I
Um,
hadn't watched it, so I can't say no.
yeah.
So
I got mine through GameStop here in Canada. So I mean, keep your eyes on GameStop too. They don't really know when they get stuff.
yeah,
Really
that's
don't,
the
you
truth.
know.
I had pulled up for you guys, or I wanted to pull up for you guys. GameStop had Heavy Duty scheduled to come out on February 25th, but
Oh,
it has been taken off. I couldn't find it
Huh.
today when I got ready to save it, so I don't know what that means. So what do you think about do you like dial tone better than the other two?
I I freaking love dial tone. Like to
Yep.
me, because I don't have leather neck, but I see what people are talking about. I think I'm going to be in a position where these two guys are going to be competing for second. But right now, from what I've seen of video with it figure in hand, I think dial tone is my absolute favorite in the wave, and leather neck will be second. But
I love it. I think I can't wait to get him. I
Yeah, he
can't
looks
wait
great.
to get him.
you know
So
what it
here's
is?
our original.
Yeah. To me, this was rising to a challenge, right? Like Saw Viper would be rising to a challenge as a toy designer to make that appealing, and they've done things with it. But to dial tone down to a modernized character using such hideously obsolete and poorly designed equipment and then make it work, you've earned the top parking spot in the Hasbro parking lot that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though but so here's our original dial tone, and they lost some of this stuff. So there's his radio. Looks like he's got a silver radio on the original
Yeah.
Yeah.
figure.
And he's got like silver up on his shoulder, like
Yeah.
just
Yeah, there's some highlights there for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
We have
The,
we love this figure, man. He was such a good
yeah.
figure.
It was one
The
of those
heart.
ones that was hard for us to find, and so it became this mission of trying to find him. He just wasn't readily available for us,
Yeah.
and that
I
that
re-
really does have a lot to do with it.
I remember my mom buying them for me on a day, like we were having a day, and she bought it, and the whole day just went so much better. And I just kept thinking about dial tone in my hand that day. But the only
Yeah,
criticism I will warn people about is his eavesdropping tech there that everybody has been saying, like
Mm,
psych out's coming. Yes, psych out's coming. This is clearly indications that he'll probably get that, but there's
right.
nowhere to stick this. Like he doesn't have a spot for this. The best I've ever come up with was he can kind of hang it from his cell phone pouch off his
Okay.
crotch,
Right. But
right? But
that's not a good spot.
it's not a good solution. And I was
No.
just like, if they had just made this a little higher or a little wider, it might have slipped in there, but it
Right.
can't. Yeah.
Right. That's
okay.
kind of a bummer, I guess. That's one of those accessories you're just gonna have to kind of leave off. You're just gonna have to
Yeah,
set
it's
it,
still it's a
set it
cool
aside.
accessory. Like
Right.
throw this over to your Night Force guys, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, D Griff in the house. What's going on, D Griff?
Hey.
So so there is those new wave of Joes. Of course, we don't have heavy duty yet to talk about him. So oh wait, hold
Oh.
on, Dave. I got it for you. Hold on.
Hey.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, Sabir, that's how I wound up with extras.
Okay.
They got Hasbro shipped, and I wanted to make sure they were in the mail before I canceled them from GameStop, and they shipped the same day.
It's
Oh,
something I just don't really do, is go back and forth and try to cancel and reorder and who's got him first or whatever. I just never really got into it, and having not trying to put up reviews right or get them as
yeah,
quick as I can, that definitely plays into that.
it re
But I could fully understand, people that are wanting to, hey, how soon can I get this figure? Right? I get
I'll
it.
be
I
right
totally get
back,
it.
fellas. I'm
You're
gonna
good.
take
Go ahead.
our customary break. It's a
Do
break
yeah.
time. I'll be
Yep.
right back.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
when
Do
you
what you
get
got to
back,
do.
I'll when he gets back, I'm gonna call it a night. But it just occurred to me there's a point in that about the ordering and the pre-ordering and then the canceling.
Right.
I would be the kind of guy that would love to sit down with the data in the spreadsheet and have it presented to me because I am sure Hasbro is tracking. When we talked about why do troop builders,
Yeah.
right? Look how
Yep.
many people probably do exactly this ordering system. I have it on order from Hasbro, Amazon, and GameStop. And there's probably a statistic of how many named characters get canceled in the way you just outlined. Like, oh,
Right.
Amazon came in first, so I'll cancel GameStop and I'll cancel Pulse, right? Versus how many troop builders do people cancel or they just let it ride?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
if
Right.
that sale is worth it, that could be another driving point for why we see troop builders coming out the ass right now.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, and that could definitely play into, how do we want to release these guys? How do we want to put them out? What order and or from the reveals and stuff. I guess for me it's just one of those things, like I just don't know that I have it's not the energy. It's just trying to keep up with it. Unless somebody notified me, if somebody told me, "Oh, hey, by the way, go ahead and jump on Amazon right now and you can grab dial tone." Right? Or go ahead and jump on GameStop and you can get them in a few days or something of that nature, then maybe I would do it. But me personally looking for it, I'm not
Mm,
that invested in trying to find that information.
that's fair.
But if 3 Star texts me, which he has done on occasion, and said, "Hey, if you go to BBTS right now or you go wherever, you could probably get this guy," especially if it's somebody that I really, really want. Dalton
Yeah.
fits that profile for me. But again, it really is. It would come through someone letting me know than trying
Mhm.
to actively search out that info and see, is he up yet? Is he up yet? And a lot of that crow for me, I've explained is that that's really the only line I collect is the classified. And for a lot of people who are doing other lines, you're actively seeking out where you can find these, which means then you're going to stumble across something else you want as well, right?
Hmm.
And say, oh, well, he's up here too. Cool. I'll just go ahead and grab him. For me, it's mainly just the classified line, and so I just take them as they come, I guess.
No, and
Um,
that's fair. I mean,
yeah,
this whole toy market really depends on the planned consumer and the impulse consumer
yeah,
equally, right?
sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Um, Crow, before you get out of here, Pop, do you want to present our other special guest?
Yes,
oh,
everybody. I'm not going to put your address on blast 3 stars, so I'm going to take the cover off.
All
And
right.
the next few days, I've got a lot of pictures to take. But this guy showed up a few days ago. This is
oh,
Tuco Viper is with me now. So anybody that's on that mailing list where Tuco will be coming to you eventually. I know where he's going next, even south of me. But yeah, he is here. He's been making the rounds across the country, zigzagging, coming all the way where you are, and down for other people and all over the place. Yeah, man. So can't wait to get some picks. I really wanted to, honestly, since I work days on Tuesdays, that really wanted to get some last night, and then today, which is one of my days off. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, I can't wait. Tuco Viper is in the house,
well,
ladies
I
and
hope he's
gentlemen.
behaving himself. He was a nightmare when he was at our place.
He's I don't know. He's had a few words. That's why I
Yeah,
had to put him back in his
He,
box because he was talking some mad shit when he got here.
bit of a dick,
he's
Darren. Just letting you know, he's a bit of a
yeah.
dick.
He's got some jet lag, so he had a hell of a party at the last place he was at.
Yes,
I
he
know
must
that.
have. He must have. I've heard a little bit, just a little. But yeah, I can't wait when it's all said and done to see the video and some of
Yeah,
the
that was
great
great.
pictures and poses and stuff people are going to do with this guy. So yeah, he showed up and so yeah, these next several days I'm gonna get to work on getting some very fun pictures and hear from Nashville and stuff and uh,
Uh,
add something to
so
the package.
so he was not originally supposed to come back here yet, but
Yeah.
the souvenirs were that people are putting in with him was making the box pretty heavy. So since people are paying to ship him, I
Yeah,
was
it's gonna
trying to
add
Yeah.
more
do
cost to
yeah.
that. Yeah, for sure.
So I had him sent back to Pot Blender so I could get the souvenirs, and I do have the souvenirs back here, and we're going to be sending a new souvenir bag with him to lessen the weight. So he's going to start a new round with Pot Blender. So Wraith Mace is heading out.
Yep.
Take it easy, Wraith. Thank you for stopping in, man. You can catch the rest on the replay if you want. You're not playing any Warhammer tonight, huh? Oh,
Yeah,
I saw
and hey,
we played
Wraith.
earlier. I saw.
Yeah.
Sorry, just before he goes, Wraith Mace has dropped another video about his Blood Angels for Joy Toy, and if you guys want to see a big ass dreadnought that would basically just rip apart his tank and a rattler at the same time, go check out his latest drop on the Blood Angels.
Sweet.
Word. Wraith
Hell yeah.
putting out
Yeah,
some good videos on that
he
stuff.
is
So
killing that
uh
stuff.
so just wanted to do that update on Tuco in case anybody that has him coming is listening. And Dave, Bat Manufacturing Facility is just waiting on Techno Viper, aka Tuco, to do a final inspection. So
Nice.
looking forward to that. So all right, we're gonna get into our mail-in topic. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna let you guys handle that with you guys and all your memories and whatnot. I'll
Yeah,
still be listening, but I
and
gotta
three.
wash up.
Yeah, man. Crow, I'm glad you joined us, man. Definitely
Thanks for
showing
having me.
off dial tone, and I told 3 star moving forward too. It's always fun to maybe have somebody hop in for a little while, especially on a particular topic or something. So I'm glad you were kind of person to jump in on this. That's for sure. It's always a pleasure
Well,
talking to you,
I
man.
don't want to overstay my welcome. So thanks very much for having me, guys. And
Appreciate it,
I'll
buddy.
keep listening to the show. And guys in the chat, make sure you hit that like, or I take my time leaving. I'll see you.
Thanks,
Thank
Crow.
you, bud. Yeah, if you can give me just a second to run and go to the head real quick.
You're not taking Tuco, are you?
No, I'm not going to take it
Okay,
with me, but
right.
I pounded this coffee and I'm about to pop.
Yeah, I was.
But if you can hold it down for just a minute, man, I'll be right back. Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah, and then we'll get into it.
We'll be right here. So you take your time and
all right, Dan.
We'll be here. So yeah, so this new wave, I'm excited with these guys, man. I talked a whole bunch about the Saw Viper, and when I saw him, I was not impressed with him at all. Made fun of him a lot. Getting him in hand though, he's a pretty good figure. The weapon, I mean, you look at the original weapon. The original weapon was freaking ridiculous too. You know, they brought it back. It was supposed to be half this size. So this was a ridiculous weapon for the time. Would have been okay if it had been in scale, but so they gave us a ridiculous weapon for this time. And maybe there goes the box mag. That's all right. That looks better anyway. So maybe this weapon here is some sort of fancy new helmet sight activated automatic weapon. I don't know. So he's good, man. I also had this dude sitting here the whole time too. We didn't talk about him, but he wasn't necessarily in the runnings out of the new wave. And this is my figure from Crusty Old Crow. This is the 60th anniversary action pilot. I meant to pull him up while Crow was here. Sorry about that. I kind of had him behind something. So that's how I got that guy set up. Took the backpack off of him and the parachute. So I really dig this figure. I really like this guy and the Marine Sniper. They come out great, much better than the first two. But back to the wave, this is a really good wave of figures. There's not really any duds here, and I would say probably at least one contender for figure of the year. We'll see what else shows up in the future waves that's to be announced. So your custom Xandar is in Texas. So why is he in Texas? Did you send him off for a competition or something? You have to tell us why he is in Texas. So, heavy duty. What are you guys' thoughts on heavy duty when he gets here? I'm not super. I really like the figure. I don't care anything about his missile platform thingamajig, but the figure looks great. I watched Shark Eye's review on him. I'm really impressed with that figure, but I think that's definitely one I'm going to have to wait for one of the famous Target sales on. I haven't even ordered him yet. And I was going to pull him up. Like I said, he's been pulled. He's not on Pulse, and he is not on GameStop anymore. You can still find him on Amazon.
That
or at least you could.
The which one was that?
Heavy duty.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
All
right.
Nice. Emerald Knight's taking some pictures of a few of his customs. I can't wait to see that because he is the man. That dude takes some killer pictures. So Emerald Knight makes them really good. So Dave says, first person to comment on his latest video, the actual name of Xandar's bladed weapon wins. I don't know what it's called. Drop your channel if it'll let you send a link. If not, send me a link and I'll drop it.
Yeah, it depends.
Might not let you post the link.
You've got it set like that too. Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about some of the Real American Hero mail-away figures. That was a pretty good idea that we had. So do you want to pull up a slideshow or list, or I have one?
I've got them saved, so just kind of individual figures, and then I'm just gonna go 5-1. I guess.
Well, I thought real quick as a refresher, we could run down what all of the original ones were.
Yeah, if you want to.
And I've got them. I have them here, and I'll pull them up, and we'll just go through them and say, what they are. Let's see. Get this open. Get this minimized over here, and just as a refresher on what some of the original mail away figures were. So in 82, we had the very first Cobra Commander.
Yeah, man. Which is quite interesting considering that's, you know what I mean? Like as far as a mail away. That's not the only one.
Yeah,
if you think about the line and having the head of the evil organization, that's a mail away figure. That's just wild to me.
Yeah, so those original Joes, we got the Coper, the Trooper, and the Officer, and then this was the first time that you could get him. He was featured as a mail away, and then let's see, 83, you had this guy right here. First time you could get him. It's Major Blood.
That's wild.
And then also in 83, you had Duke.
Yep.
And then in 84, you had Hooded Cobra Commander, which is, that's the jam right there. That's such a good figure.
Right? Yeah.
Such a good figure. So 85, you had Starduster. And then in 86, Sergeant Slaughter.
That's a great one. It's my favorite Slaughter version.
Oh, and then in 87, you had William the Refrigerator Perry. 88, we had Super Trooper. 89, for some inexplicable reason, we had Rampage, who was really heavy duty. And somebody might know why they did this. I don't know the backstory of why they did this figure. As reissuing the Mauler Driver is an entirely different figure with the exact same file card, because it is the same. So 89, there was not a mail away in 1990. So in 91, you had the Frosted Flakes Lifeline.
Yeah.
It was a mail away. You could get a Weeble, you could get a My Little Pony, or you could get a Lifeline that had swapped out legs, because Lifeline, the original, did have a gun. So they swapped out the legs with Frostbite. So I did not realize that until I looked these up and researched these.
That's interesting. I didn't know that either, actually. That's totally.
I knew they did this, but I didn't know that they swapped the legs. So 92, we had this guy right here, and I'm going to talk about this guy in a minute. So this was also when Super 7 did this, they did Ninja Coup. And I remember you were at Target and you sent me a picture of that figure and said, "Who the fuck is Ninja Coup?"
That was the reaction?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reaction line.
Yeah.
So I just that brought that memory back when I saw this. So 1993 had a bunch. So you had version 2 of the Steel Brigade.
Steel Brigade.
And then you had Arctic Commandos, which was a 3-pack. Or 4-pack, I'm sorry. Sub-Zero DJ.
Oh, DJ!
And Snow Serpent V2. And the only desirable figure in that whole thing is the reissue of that damn Stalker.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
Those are some ass figures.
Yeah.
We finally got to create a Cobra who was, I believe, Interrogator mishmash. I never had this guy. This was past my time.
Yeah, me
And
too.
then I actually had this. I dig this. This was Deep Six V2.
Malcolm
Yeah.
Willoughby,
And
the third.
can anybody else hear the Big Daddy moan from BioShock?
Yeah, with this in particular. Yeah.
So, then we had, let's see, we're up to E. So we had a second version of this horrible General Hulk figure that had just come out the year before. This is the worst piece of shit. Like, I know we've talked about this figure before, and some people really like it.
Yeah.
I really hate it.
Yeah, it just starts to get.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just for me, as a kid growing up during the Red Dawn era of action and army and camo, and once you start getting bright and crazy and neon and pink and really, it just starts to get too much for me.
Oh, Matthew says, fake fan doesn't know Ninja Coup. I know he was in the lore somewhere, but the Super 7 figure is basically like the Ninja Viper. So I know he was an actual
Those damn fake fans.
He commanded a squadron or a contingent of something Viper. I don't know. I know there was a Ninja. So, come on, man. I'm trying to be funny here.
You don't know the difference between an AC-187 submachine gun and an MP4 2000 7.842 187 reloader? What the hell's wrong with you?
I'm a real fan of bullets. So then we have these guys were the helicopter pilot 2-pack. They're digging deep. They were digging deeper than hell with some of these figures, man. So
major altitude. What?
Major altitude.
What?
And Interrogator. So Interrogator, as I said, I think was the Create a Cobra.
Yeah.
So get back to where we're at. So then we had also in 93, we had the International Action.
You know what? Big Ben, Big Bear, I'm good. I didn't need that Spirit, and I don't need Budo for me. I mean, and this is again, it's kind of past my time. But Big Bear, Big Ben, I'm down with them for sure.
Yeah. So, and then we have the International Action Forces here, and then we have the Rapid Deployment Force, which actually isn't a bad pack.
It's actually in a way, pretty cool. I do like the little belt, holder, belt mounted plastic holder, thing for your figures. Like, that's pretty cool.
So I like that was a reissue. I never had the little pack carrier thing. So, so these were the last ones in 93 here. And then in 94, we finally got this dude right here. We got G.I. Joe in 1994. This was Joe Colton.
I wish that had been one that was around in the 80s.
You and me both.
I do. I really do.
So this was the last one of through 1994. So go ahead and kill that. And I'm going to run through the chat here. So if you want to outline
some good comments.
We're doing.
There's some good comments in the chat, actually. Honestly, there's a couple really funny ones, and then there's a couple good ones through there.
Joe fan shocked his cat.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trying to go back.
That Deep
Duke.
6. Duke mail away,
Duke
but
was a mail.
Deep 6, I think, looked like the bad guy from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, Captain Cutler.
Yeah.
Which actually I've got the little micro figure back there somewhere. Dave, the Joe Melloways went on for years. Yeah, they did, and they turned into like the exclusives and the convention exclusives and stuff. We're not including those. We're just doing 82 to 94. Let's see. Yeah, you could order that Cobra Commander for a while, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then Sharlock says, I think Lenny dropped the hint about Fridge and Roddy Piper in Classified. I didn't hear that. I know they've tried to get the Fridge's likeness, but the
I would,
family didn't want to do
yeah.
it.
And I don't even know why, to be honest with you, because that's just another revenue stream, right?
It's
Like
money,
for a
man.
family
Like,
that maybe needs it. I mean, those
yeah,
guys didn't get paid a ton back then. Even a guy as
and
popular as Fridge.
yeah, and I mean, and Fridge was only popular for what, 3 years, really?
Yeah, he's
So,
yeah.
um, so let's see, go back through. All right, I think we got to the
Yeah,
bottom.
me and Daredevil Dave, I have to admit though, this comment here spent all the 80s dressed in camo. When it went neon, I went to Cars and Girls. I'm almost basically exactly in that same frame.
Yeah,
Like, because man, I had berets when we were kids playing war in the woods, and you'd wear whatever camo you could get your hands on. We'd go to the Freedmen's Army Navy surplus. You get
yes,
your badges, so you could flash a badge like you were the cops or the FBI or CIA, and just all that stuff. The plastic guns didn't have orange tips on them. They didn't look neon and blue and green, so that they looked like guns, whatever. And
yep.
so, but I'm with you, Dave. I did a lot of that stuff, especially as a kid. But once they started going neon, that's about the time that I started in high school and beyond. It's like,
I was still collecting when they went to
mhm.
neon. Didn't have many of the figures because I thought they were ridiculous. I didn't have any of the Eco Warriors. I had a Slice and V2 Firefly were my last figures in '92. So although some of those figures were going that direction,
Yeah.
when I was still buying figures and playing with them, I didn't like them, so I didn't buy them.
Well, and I know, and Joe fan, and I know you've commented on this too. And I've mentioned it definitely a couple times too. When you have, is that yeah, it's kind of like depending on where just when you were born and when you came into it, right? And it's
Yeah,
and for a lot of people that era, that 93, or 90,
yeah,
91, 92, 93, whatever. Is
that's their
your era.
Joes.
That's where you came in, and there's obviously nothing wrong with that. Of course not. It really isn't. But at the same time, yeah, somebody like myself is a little bit older and more that classic military design, even though there were always sci-fi elements, right, to G.I. Joe. Of course there were. But it's almost just kind of just a product of design, just when you were born and kind of where you were at that time as to just what you gravitate towards.
Yeah,
But
we
G.I.
make
Joe,
fun of that stuff, but Joe fan's a Joe fan.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it.
I
And
got
and
no.
also Army Navy was a awesome place to go to. Unfortunately, they closed down here in town, the last one, and they'd been owning it since the 70s, and we're just
Yeah,
ready to get out. And it's kind of a shame because they had a lot of good stuff, and now really the only other game in town is more modern.
yeah.
It's more really modern, and it's more for police officers and security personnel, and they've got all the stuff, but it's
Greens,
real modern. Real modern.
green. You talking about greens?
Yeah, there's a place on Lebanon Pike. I
Yeah,
think
that's
that's it,
that's
right?
that's great. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. We went
When
there.
I
I took
worked for
took my
animal
son there one time.
control, when I worked for animal control, that's where we went to buy our boots.
Yeah,
Was one
yeah,
for greens.
yeah. It's super modern. So
There's a couple out in some outlying cities. Like there's one really good one that is a city I work in, but I mean it's like 2 hours from you, so it's not really feasible to
yeah,
go
yeah,
to.
yeah.
The other one was 15 minutes from your house.
Got to get tough. Yo, yo.
Joe.
So basically what we did is we took the mail order figures and we said we're gonna pull five, and we're gonna just do our 5-1 of our favorites, the ones we like the best from 5-1. And
Yep.
then after that, to finish out the night, we're gonna do three figures from comic, cartoon, whatever that we'd like to see as a mail away in the classified. And so the hard part with the three for me is that God, there's so many that I'd like to see. Some might be repeats that you already have, but in a different version or a smaller version or a whatever. Some may be recent even. But then there's individual little characters that were in a cartoon or, one episode or maybe the 5-part series or maybe it was out of the comic.
Yep.
And so I had a tough time coming up with the 3 that I'd like to see, but the 5
I had a tougher,
was not hard for me.
Yeah, same here. I had a tougher time coming up with 3 because everything I kept thinking of was like, that's popular enough that people would buy it if they did it. Like the one I
Yeah.
suggest, I mentioned you
Yeah.
like Quinn, like Quinn's
an
no-brainer,
easy one. I agree
but
with you.
Dr. Venom,
That's
people
one
buy the shit out of them.
Yes, and I'd saved some info on or saved a picture for Dr. Venom because he may have ended up on that list. But there's a couple. I'll explain it when we get to it. We'll finish
Okay.
up with that, but we'll run our 5 through 1. How would you like to do that?
I think it'll probably go better if we just go
Just
back and
rank,
forth.
yeah. Like I do my
You
5,
do-
you
yeah,
do your 5, I do my 4,
Yep.
you do your 4.
Yeah,
All
but
right,
I do real quick want to deliver this message from Roadblock.
Let's do it.
Remember how to win. Grit them teeth and dig on in. Yo, Joe. Yo, Joe. Let's go. Yo, Joe. Let's go. Yo, Joe. Yo, Joe.
I love it. Love it.
Now let's have your 5.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go my number 5. Where'd he go? All right, this is scrolling by too fast for me. Oh, it's because I have them on extra large icons. That probably doesn't help at
Say what's up to Justin Booth.
all.
Just popped in. They confirmed we talked about those. We showed them a little while ago, Justin, the RoboCop figures.
All right.
Can't wait.
So, my number 5 is Super Trooper. I remember getting this guy as a mail away. I had quite a few of the mail aways. Up until probably about the time that I stopped really collecting. But at that time, just the silver or the chrome, right? The fact that just popped, and you really didn't get that out of many or any of the figures, right? Vehicles. So it was like this was really a special, special thing to me, and so I really did I loved this guy. I was going to zoom in a little bit because I just love the operation single-handed, the shield, the gun, just everything about it just popped, right? And it was just so cool. Now, was he one of my favorite guys to run into battle or nothing? Not particularly stupid trooper, but as a mail away figure and something completely different. Okay, that was really for me. If this was a top 10 list or a top 7 or something, he might have slid down a little bit, but I don't think so. I mean, it really just when I looked at all of them and the ones I really liked that I went with. So he's my number 5. I think just from an accessory standpoint and just the color.
That shield, that giant chrome shield,
I know,
dude. And these lists are lists now. Like these aren't lists from the perspective of then. These are looking back at them now, right? That's how I made mine. So
yeah, no, I'm with you. And as just going back and kind of looking at it, I thought, this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool, different. But just it's like, he has stuff nobody else has. The pop, dude. It's wild.
Is that Duke or Hawk?
If you look in, I wish it was a little clearer because the text on this when I save the pic. But General Hawk.
Okay, because I I thought it was Hawk because of the greens, but I saw that the face right there, and I was going to say, if that is Duke,
I know.
boy, that new Super 7 reaction nailed that dead.
But I mean,
look.
metalized. Comes complete with silver-plated helmet, shield, vest, and weapon details on back. Get Super Trooper free. Not available in any store. So yeah, that's my number 5. What about you, man? Sergeant Fivehead. General Fivehead to you, buddy.
He said it's Dawk.
Dawk.
Oh, I gotta get mine. I gotta get mine pulled up here because
that's cool.
Thought you were gonna do all of yours.
Oh well, I can. I thought we was just gonna go back and forth.
Yeah, but, I didn't have mine queued up, so it will just take me a second if you want to do it that way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. I can run through my number 4 if you want.
No, I'm ready. If you,
okay, go ahead. We'll just bounce it back and forth. So my number 5, Super Trooper. What about you?
All right, so my number 5 is Cobra Ninja Viper. So Ninja Coup, Ninja Coup, if you will. It's not actually Ninja Coup. So I just most of these I just grabbed the file card. So I didn't have this guy. Not a secret that I'm not a huge fan of the ninjas, but I think this guy looks really cool. Aaron the Toy Enhancer made a really good custom of this guy out of Storm Shadow.
Awesome.
And I just always liked that the turquoise with the white on the belt, and just the idea of a army builder type ninja that wasn't the Night Creeper, because that was really the only one we got in classified, I think, were Night Creepers, and they were more like businessmen. I mean, sure, they were ninjas, but I just always liked the idea of this guy, even though I never had him. The colors pop. Did you know that when they ran the campaign for this, they really were going to amp it up a whole lot more? And they were doing some live action commercials and stuff for this guy. But I guess because it was toward the end of the line, they really couldn't get a lot of the funding off the ground. But I found one of the outtakes from that, and I'm going to play that for you now.
And you got your Judy chop, all right? You got your karate chop, and you got your ninja chop.
I thought that was coming right at me for a second. I thought that was coming. I had to, like, that was, holy, that guy's quick, man. It's there's no escape from Diamond Dave. Not much. Nope, not much. So
you had to know that was coming. So that's my number 5.
Yeah, man.
I really like the Ninja Viper, and I think that's one of the better ones.
Well, my number 5 is to stick with. I've got a couple pictures to share, but the reason why I wanted to share this one in particular, Steel Brigade, because I remember filling this form out and being able to make your own code name, your characteristics, what you're best at, right? Your primary specialty, secondary specialty, weapons expert, right? Martial arts, school and training. That was such a great exercise as a kid to be able to make your own figure with your own card, right? And have what you choose, even though they have pre-selected things on there. The bottom line is that was so awesome to be able to do. And very unique, right? Like very, very unique.
And who wouldn't want that? I mean,
seriously,
as a Joe fan.
That's what I mean, right?
As a kid, you're own dude.
I mean, that, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for me, it was like, dude, this is awesome. Now, I'm going to share this other tab instead as I try to navigate these, let's see here. I'll stop that one, but I want to present this last one just to show the actual dude. But anyway, so, there we go. But yeah, be the next Joe team member. As a kid, like, who would not want to be able to do that? I mean, you file card, right? I don't know. Everything about it, I just thought it was great. And even though, again, it wasn't a guy that was I guess, obviously I would pretend that it was me, in battle. But But what a great idea. I mean, how you want to get kids interested in a freaking mail away figure? Create your own. The only other thing you could do better than that was to maybe create, of course, it would be out of hand, is create your own paint and your own parts, which obviously, come on. Like, but at least you could do the file card and pretend it was you in battle and nobody else. And so I thought that was really cool. So that's my number 4. I just think it's a great idea and really fun to get kids in there to be able to do that. It's a great idea.
I remember filling out the form, but I
Yeah.
guess it either never got mailed or I never got it because I never had Steel Brigade.
Yeah. No,
I never had him.
yeah, I mean, again, I mean, I had several of the mail away guys, and I in my mind at least, I feel like maybe I am Neo and I'm just in the Matrix, but in my mind, I can remember filling out like checking off the boxes, you know, and putting my code name in and stuff. But probably just making that memory up in my head. But I did have him, and he's my number 4 out of my top 5. What about you? Who is number 4?
So my number 4, and I really meant to grab this guy and have him over here for this, but I forgot because we got him, and that is good old Starduster.
Yeah.
Edward J. Schuyler, who is
That makes
unfortunately fused into the jetpack that he was experimental jetpack G.I. Joe fused him into. So I always thought this was a cool figure. I said it leading up to when we got classified Starduster. I said it in my Starduster review, and I said it when we rewrote file cards. I always liked Starduster, even though he was Duke with a different head.
Yeah.
I never had him. I knew like one kid that had Starduster, and I just always thought he was so neat, and the exclusivity of Starduster.
Right.
Starduster was like Flash and Airborne times 2. Flash, not a lot of kids had for some reason that I knew, and we've talked about Airborne a bunch of times. Like he was really hard to get here, but if you showed up on the playground with Starduster, you were the shit when you got that figure.
Right.
So he's my number 4, just because I never did have him, and I always just liked the motif. I like the color scheme of the guy. So that's why he is my number 4. And I really should have got him and put him over here, but too late now.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Dave says I hated the file card after that. After
Steel Brigade, probably. Because you just got the
yes.
piece of paper. You thought you were getting a
Yeah.
file card.
And also it got stolen. He says, "You know who you are, Trav. If Trav's watching this,
we're coming for you,
that's
Trav.
right. We're gonna get him. We're gonna find
Revenge 40 years later."
him."
And Dave also says he had the cereal, the Action Stars cereal.
I got the cereal back in the day. Did you ever get it?
I don't remember. It seems like I did. And it seemed like it was like a mixture of Captain Crunch and corn and pop.
Sugary shit that would rip the roof of your mouth all to hell.
That's what I was
100%
thinking.
Yep, 100%. So my number 3 is going to be one Refrigerator Perry down here. I love this picture, but I'm going to cycle through 4 of them quickly.
Okay.
But I love this guy. I love the football on the chain. I love the fact that he had the white covers over the boots, right? I can't remember what the name of them what they're called. But anyway, but his jersey number, he's not in Chicago Bears like colors per se, but the big 72. I love the belt buckle on the front there. Refrigerator Perry was a big name at that time. And I wanted to share a couple things real quick from a pricing standpoint, which I thought was quite interesting. And let's see, let me get it real quick here. I love this. Get a free fridge action figure with 5 fridge proof of purchase certificates and $1 for postage and handling, or 4 proof of purchase certificates and the fridge's combat specialty plus $1 for postage and handling. Just from a pricing standpoint, right? For postage and handling, I thought that was, pretty interesting, right?
I'd buy
And then,
that for $1.
yeah, right. And then this picture right here, quickly, there's only one obstacle in the G.I. Joe obstacle course, and it's me, the fridge. I'm on the Joe team to whip Joes into fighting shape. It says write the letters PTI on your special fridge proof of purchase certificates and mail them in. So you actually had to do a little work, right?
Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of goofy, but yeah, I mean they actually kind of did make you do a little work. And then this is the last thing I want to show quickly as I cycle through this, is that there's a phone number on here. Get a free fridge action figure and autographed bio card. Combat specialty bonus. All right. And he's got where the gap, the tooth there. I mean, that's real life shit. But every Saturday from January 3rd until June 27th, call the fridge at 1-900-976-5432, a 50-cent charge, and he will tell you his special combat skill, and that's good for 1 free proof of purchase certificate. So I thought that was interesting. For 50 cents, you had to write that skill down, right? And then send those in. And that's how you got him. And I had this guy. I loved this dude. He's one of those ones I hate that I sold, at a garage sale.
Man.
Because he just was special and totally different. Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome. But anyway, so that's my number 3 is Refrigerator Perry. What about you?
I'm wondering what would happen if we called that number.
I don't know. I could give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Shall we? Keypad 1-900-976. I'll put it on speakerphone. 5432. Here we go.
Tell them you want to talk to the fridge, or we want to talk to the fridge.
Place is not allowed from this line. Please dial 611 for customer service or dial 1-800-33
Okay.
for landline phone.
That's weird. So from a cell phone, calling that number, it won't allow it to go through. It doesn't say it doesn't work. It doesn't say anything else. That's odd.
They can't charge you, I guess, maybe.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting.
That was while you were reading that, I was like, we got to try and call that number.
Yep.
I was going to do it if you
No,
did.
well, it's a no-go, folks. Nothing doing. But anyway, so
we tried, you guys.
Yep. What about you, man? What you thinking about for number 3?
This dude right here.
Yeah.
Gotta have Sebastian on here.
Right.
And I didn't even get his file card, even though I got it in the other folder. I grabbed this because I love it so much, these order forms. So I've got a bunch of the fold out flyers from the vehicles. I've got them on the shelf, got figures standing on them. These are the next things I want to get, is try to get some of these.
Yeah.
And they're at the shows. They're not super expensive, especially if you don't care about condition.
Right.
But so this was my number 3, because this is one of the most badass characters in all of G.I. Joe.
Agreed. Agreed. I don't even think he gets enough play, to be honest with you.
No, he's underused.
And we agree. Folks, one of the best figures in the entire classified line. Early figure. He was one of the first 2 I got, Flint and Major Blood, that Cobra Island. That's a great figure.
Yeah,
it's a great classified. It really is.
It was a great figure in Real American Hero.
Yes.
And it's a great figure. Now I can't wait for what's coming up with him next. I think we're gonna get a retro version of him for sure.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Python Patrol Major Blood.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's a badass figure. It's a very good looking figure. I'd even take the Sonic Fighters blood with the blue
Really?
and the yellow. I've got that figure. That's a good looking figure too.
I'd like to see an
Uh,
updated version of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, they'd have to tweak it a little bit,
Right.
but so for my number 3 for mail-ins, it's
Awesome,
Mega
baby.
Blood. He's
I
one
love it.
of my favorites. My buddy Berserker's Brush. This is his absolute favorite Joe or Cobra. He's a big blood. He's got all of his blood stuff. He has a cabinet called the Hall of Blood, and it's nothing
Nice.
but major blood stuff.
Nice.
So
That's cool.
so
No,
he makes
he's a
number
great one.
3.
He is a great one. So as we get closer and closer, whittle it down. My number 2. Let's see if I can pull this up quickly. I'm going to show the figure first, but then I'll flip through the little file card. My number 2 is the one and only Sergeant Slaughter. This is my favorite version. It's my favorite version ever that came out. I love the color on it. I love the boots. I love the USA on the tank top, the green tank top. I had this guy as well. He was by far my favorite version out of every single Sergeant Slaughter that ever came out. I was excited because I was a huge wrestling fan at the time as well. I had all the rubber figures back then, and I mean, dude, it was like almost all of them. I mean, I was all in on them rubber figures. And the ring, and we used to have tournaments, me and my friend Troy, and had tournaments with all those wrestlers, and you had to love Sergeant Slaughter. And him and Hogan obviously teaming up to whatever and that time. So this was a great one. This was a great one to have. I did. There's just something about that look. I always loved the USA on the front, and I found it curious why we never really got that, again. But I love this too because the secret code bonus number, 1986, send it in, in your proof of purchase and, get this guy for free, which is, I mean, that's awesome. That's a hell of a deal, man. I mean, you had to collect other figures, right? Get your proof of purchases and whatever. But then
you were already doing it, so
yeah. So I mean, big deal. Pay $1 for shipping and handling, and so yeah, man. Like I don't know. I just loved this. And then the last thing I wanted to show, it's just some of the marketing from it that was also fun and it's stuff we don't get anymore.
I remember the commercials.
Right.
For that figure, man.
I mean, this right here, just the again, the phone number, right, with the charge and all that. You get the code and you have to write it and all that stuff. And it's just fun. It's something fun for kids. We just don't get this stuff anymore. And it's that feeling of that personalization, tactile, right? Having to use a pen, write the code, clip the codes off, put them in the envelope, mail it off with $1 or a check for $1 or whatever. Yeah. And all that, it's just not a part of the world that we live in today. And it takes away a little bit of that. I know, right? But it takes away a little bit of that, I think, and it's like owning vinyl and having an album, and you have to open it up and pull the sleeve out, put the record on the player, line the needle up, right? All that, it makes it an intimate kind of thing in a way, if you understand what I'm saying. And, and I think that plays a lot into, reading books. Would you rather read a book or a Kindle? The Kindle's easy, but holding a book in your hands, unfolding a newspaper. So it's that kind of thing. I miss that in a way. And I feel like collecting things like that, proofs of purchase, sending them in, that's just fun. And especially as a kid, because you'd get so excited and then you'd wait 6 to 8 weeks, and he'd finally show up in a little box in your mailbox.
And as much as I love that first classified Sergeant Slaughter figure, I am disappointed it was not that version with the green and the USA on the tank top.
Yeah.
I was, much as I love that figure, that's one of my favorite figures, but I was disappointed. And it's funny that you say that and talk about that stuff, because I cut my camera off because I just happened to have this handy without having to move anything to get to it.
Nice. Yes.
Have that little.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
brochure there.
Yes.
It's over there. I have it over there on the shelf on my display behind Sarge.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
And I don't even remember. I'm trying to remember what all was in this. So it's for the Hasbro wrestling.
Yep. And
the rubber one.
And there's Iron Sheik. There's Hogan on the ground. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
It's
great paraphernalia to have.
Look,
That's
there's
great
the Halo
stuff.
jumper I just talked about.
That's good stuff, man. We used to just pour over those things, right? Looking through all the different ones, and yeah, man, that's so good.
They don't do it anymore. They don't make it like they used to.
No, they don't, and it doesn't make sense to either. I get it, but back in those days, that's how things were done.
It's another world.
Yep. So what's your number deuce?
Well, as it turns out, I did actually say Major Blood, but never mind. So my number 2 is this dude right here.
Number 2.
Yep, he's number 2. I know you'd have thought he would have been my number 1. He was my number 2 favorite mail away. Hooded Cobra Commander, got the dark royal blue, the gold stripe on the pants. I actually still have my original, and this is one of the few Real American Hero figures that I have bought a better example of than what survived my childhood, just because the figure, I love the figure so much, or the character means so much to me.
Right.
I did get a better example of this with nice gold stripes. It comes with the hair dryer gun. I got the file card with it, the whole 9 yards. But whenever I do that, there are a few instances that I do it, I keep that figure separate from my figures as a kid. Like, it don't get mixed in. It's got his own bag with the other figures.
Yeah.
But he's my number 2. You probably, I don't know if you can be able to guess what my number 1 was, but much as I love this character and this figure, there's one other as far as those old mail-aways that I did like a little bit more. So, but that's my number 2. I love me some Hooded Cobra Commander.
Well, it wouldn't shock you to know that that's my number 1. He is my number 1. This was a unique character, and not for any other reason than the fact that it was a different color, and compared to the original light blue mail away. When you saw the different representations in the comics or the show, right, or whatever, I love the fact that you didn't just get the same look, and you didn't get, now as they got down the line and you got your various versions, but at that time it was cool because you either had your battle ready with your mask and your helmet, or you had your more sitting on the throne, behind the scenes, and this is much easier to wear probably, and
ceremonial.
And of course in the comics we got great covers and great panels with this mask, and so this is my number 1. The colors themselves just really pop with the gold and the dark blue. And I just love the fact that it was a different look for the same character at basically the same time, that original era where it didn't start getting, we need a black and gold or whatever version, right? Or we don't need like a different, the blue and the gold, that kind of other one we got there. So yeah, for me, he was my number 1 mail away overall. I just love it. I think it's just such a great figure, and that time the difference
someday,
different
maybe
ones, right? Yeah,
someday, man. I love that figure so much, and I'm surprised that you didn't pick the stalker with the manta there.
You know what though? I know, but the manta was super cool though. The fact that you could fold it up and stick it on his back, and it looked like this ridiculous. It's like what?
When I talked to Crow yesterday and told him what we were doing for our topic, and we were talking about it, he and I, and both of us brought up the Manta, and he's like, "Oh, you mean you guys aren't going to pick the Manta?" It's like, dude, I'd love a classified Manta. I love
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Oh, are
I
you
never,
kidding me? Absolutely.
I never did have it. My the cousins on the other side that introduced me to GI Joe, they had it, and they're older than me. One of them is a couple years older than you, and his brother is your age. So um, they were in Joe from the beginning. They got it all in 82, and I saw it at their house, and then I started getting in it in 83, but they had the Manta. So I actually like that thing, honestly. So Clint said he knows who my number one
Yes,
is
I
going to
saw
be.
that. Well, let's find out, shall we?
Let's see. I want Clint to type a guess in there and see. Ice Cream Soldier wasn't a mail away.
No.
I'll take an Ice Cream Soldier though in classified. I like that figure. I do. I bought him. I went back and bought him carded like years in the early 2000s
Yeah.
when I was picking up some of the 90s Joes that I missed. He was one that I picked up. So let's see. Bears, I should have done. Peyton didn't need the money. Peyton didn't need the money from the endorsement. So I don't know if Clint's going to type it, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. So my number one favorite mail away was one I never got because I was long out. It's Joe Colton. I love the way this figure turned out, and I don't think actually over here. Nope, that was the other image. I didn't grab the figure because I like this file card so much.
Yeah.
This guy was like the perfect combination of all of the leaders, like all of Flint, Falcon, Duke, and Hawk. He was all of them put together. The original G.I. Joe. So Clint said he thought I was going to go fridge. If we had done, we talked about doing 7's for our topics, and we had to slim it down for this one. If we'd have done 7, fridge would have been on it.
Yeah.
But I love this Joe Colton figure. It turned out really well. And I just love he's the most badass ever. They talk about Vietnam in his file card.
Right.
Like this dude is Chuck fucking Norris.
Right.
Chuck Norris was in the chat earlier. This is Delta Force Invasion USA Chuck Norris. I love it. He's a fucking 4-star general, and there he is with the M16 getting ready to blast some terrorists. So tells you how badass he is. Now, I was actually, when I first saw the 60th anniversary infantry soldier, when I saw the first pictures of him, and they were, we're going to pay homage to the beginnings of G.I. Joe. I actually threw my arms up and I was like, we're getting Joe Colton. And then it's just like generic Jethro. And I was like, oh,
we'll probably get him at some point in time.
I hope. I'd like to see a Joe and Jane 2-pack.
I mean, I would think so. I would think so.
I think he's one.
Or at least one of each.
I think we talked about figures once, and we'll have to revisit that soon. That we're pretty sure they're gonna do soon, and I think I did mention him. We need to revisit that, at some point now that we've gotten a lot more figures. But I think they will make him. I hope they do. But he's my number one. I really dig the Joe Colton figure.
Nice.
So I've got
Very
Lunchbox. Good. I have one, but the one I got's kind of shitty. Mine's he's up there. I can't get to him without knocking him over, but I have one. It's painted and it's resin, but I don't like the way it fits. So, yeah.
Let me check something quickly.
That's what we were talking about. Speculation. I mean, I think they will. There's enough people that want him. I think we'll get him, and he'll probably be a mishmash of some other figures. because they'll have enough to put him together. Like we
All right.
got Leathernecks camoed. We're getting Footloose.
Yeah.
We've got some olive drab figures.
Right.
So they got a bunch of different ways they could probably make him right now if they wanted.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna do coming up with our current, like what we would like to see with mail away coming up. So we picked 3, right? And
I actually did 2 lists too. I did a list of which 3 of the ones we just went over would I like to see, because I forgot what we agreed on doing.
right.
And then I thought, oh no, these were our dream mail aways. So
Yeah.
if you got that and you want to name them, just the 3 out of the ones we just did, you'd like to see.
Oh, I mean, obviously, I'd love to have the fridge. I don't give a shit. I'd love to have hooded Cobra Commander for sure. Beyond that, as far as from my list, I mean, I guess, it's kind of tough because, I mean, really, we've got Sarge, a couple of them already, Steel Brigade, Super Trooper, I guess give me the Manta, you know what I mean? Like, like that would be cool. I'm okay with that. Or Joe Colton, if you were going to do that, like I'd be cool with that too. I mean, any one of those really, I didn't really think about that, but yeah, I'd be okay.
Yeah, I forgot. I surprised you with that when I blindsided you. So, but I did write down 3, and the 3 that I would like to see made into a mail away, because it's not something going to be super popular. The fridge. Joe Colton is on my list again for this.
Yeah.
And that Deep Six V2 with the diving bell helmet.
Yeah, that'd be pretty wild.
I'd do Deep Six, make him look more like a classic old school diver, like what was mentioned, Scooby-Doo, Captain Cutler, and just tweak the colors to make it work so it's not bright 90s neon. But that could be a good figure, especially if you give him what did he come with? A dolphin? He had a dolphin or some shit.
Yeah.
So come with Flipper the assault dolphin.
Faster than lightning.
Flipper. He blew gunpowder out of his blowhole.
Yeah. It's a talented
Deadlier
dolphin.
than lightning.
What's up, War Chesticles? What are you doing, buddy?
Be listening to that sumbitch for 3 or 4 hours tomorrow night, I suppose. I'm curious. This is going to be one of those shows where you like they do with Kelly Ripa and Ryan Seacrest, and they call in, and you have to pick which story's real and which one he made up.
Yeah, War Chest on Thursday with a friend tomorrow night. So yeah, as soon as I get out of work, I'll be tuning in for sure.
Punk's been touting it as probably his last live show ever before he gets kicked off
Lord.
YouTube.
Nah, come on. Nah, he's got nothing to worry about. I know that from experience. I've had War Chest on myself
many a
few times. So that should be pretty good. Be pretty good. But I'd be curious, and I'd definitely be watching it for sure. So listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and give you my 3.
Okay.
As far as what I'd like to see, as far as mail away. Now, a couple of these might be kind of expensive, one of them in particular. But one of these might throw you out of left field.
I got one.
Okay. Well, one of these in particular, I would love to see a 3-pack. I'd love to see a 3-pack of Stalker, Snake Eyes, and Storm Shadow from Vietnam.
Yeah.
I would love to have that as a 3-pack. I love this story arc. I love the comic. I was all into this era, right, at that time, and just the history behind it. And I just thought it would have been so freaking awesome to have these guys as a 3-pack mail away kind of thing. I just think that'd be so cool.
These this story, these arcs through the 20s, 26, 27, when you're getting this history, that's some of the best G.I. Joe comic that was written in Marvel, was
Absolutely.
explaining this arc 26
Absolutely.
and 27, origins
Yes.
of Snake Eyes.
Yes. It just kind of came out, I was sitting there kind of flipping through and thinking, what would I like to see? And some stuff off the wall. And yes, there's some obvious characters. And there may be, my next pick is rather obvious. This is in no particular order. But for some people, my next pick would be rather obvious. But yeah, I just think this would be so good to have them in that gear from that time period
I'd love
with
it.
the accessories and just the history of that. I think is fantastic. And so
I think it'd be
yeah.
hot enough. I don't think they would need to do it as a mail away.
Yeah,
I think
no,
it'd sell.
but it's a special kind of deal, and it's just
Yeah.
and it doesn't even fit with classified. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's
No.
from the comic.
It'd be its
not.
own
They don't do
thing.
that shit. It's its own deal.
Legacy.
And I just
Legacy
feel like
3-pack.
I think it's something a lot of fans would appreciate.
I'd
In
buy
a
the
way,
shit out of that. I'd buy them. Put fucking Dickie and Ramon and Wade Collins in there too. I'd buy a 6-pack.
right? I
With
mean,
all
who
of
would
them
who
guys
wouldn't
in there.
want who wouldn't want this figure right here, folks? Who wouldn't want this guy
Yeah.
like that?
Vietnam Tommy.
Come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Before
Like,
he turned
that's-
to a life of crime.
Fire, dude. Fire. Anyway, so that's my first one. My next one is going to be pretty easy, but I couldn't help it. I would love for this to also be a mail away. And of course, these would be rather expensive. I don't care. I don't think we're going to get them, but give me Cold Slither. Give me Cold Slither. I would love to have this. I just think
Yeah.
this would be so great. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you walk into Walmart or Target and you see those bands, you see the Kiss figures, right? It's got
Yeah.
the little drum set, it's got the little guitars, or sometimes you see the other ones. I think this would be cool. Just with those costumes, right? And the spandex, give them the instruments even. I mean, like I said, I know it'd be expensive, but I don't think we're ever going to get it, but I'd love to have it. And if the only way to get it was to be able to mail away for it, so to speak, I think that would be fun. Just a classic retro go back.
People are clamoring for Cold Slither.
Oh, I have no doubt about it. I just don't know that they're going to go there.
And
They've
the
got
little,
so much more to do before then.
and putting putting the Cold Slither logo on Metalhead
Right.
on his neck protectors, like, is this an Easter egg?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, right.
I
but
think
I
they
just-
could do them. I think they could do them.
Oh, I
sell
think they
them.
could, but they're just not quite in that direction yet. Once they exhaust, it just depends on how far they want to go with this line.
If they can manage to if they can figure out what they're going to do with these retro cards and these
Right.
retro lines, we talked about this, Crow and I talked about this. Make your damn mind up on what these retros are supposed to be. And if you got to do a separate line for comic and cartoon stuff, do it. And if you want to make a retro line
Right.
that is faithful to the real American heroes, make that. But don't start dragging elements of one and the other. and
Right,
get
right,
the
right.
Water's all muddied, and I would rather them do a separate line for shit like this and go from there.
Right.
It's my opinion on it.
No, I'm with you. Really, for me, this last one, it was hard because just to give you a couple of my ideas, Sick Stealer from Worlds Without End, I thought would have been fun. I thought with the
Yeah.
bug too, the little purple pink bug, and him with the purple eyes, right, or the eyes and everything. I think that would be really fun, or at least Steeler with a different head sculpt, with that head sculpt
Would he have real sweating action?
Right, that'd be even better. But I thought that would be fun. I thought the dancing shipwreck, Snake Eyes Timber with satin would be fun. That would be a fun pack, right? You know, but it's kind of goofy. And Quinn is an obvious one. We all know Quinn. Dr. Venom, that's another one. But for me, I do want a classified 2-pack, and I want to have the gun. I want to have the whip. I want to have all of it. And it's these guys right here. Give me that as a little mail away, you know, kind of thing, right? I just think in classified form, really tall, make this the tallest figure out of all the classified line, and make the little bitty fatal fluffy. Those would be fun. And so that's my 3. This is probably super obvious as well. And I know we've gotten it in the smaller scale recently, but I would love to have these 2. I think it'd be great.
I would too. I'd love to have a classified scale because it'd be, I mean, he'd have to be like 8 or 9 inches tall.
Yeah. No,
So-
that's that's why it'd be a special kind of thing for people that would want to mail away for it.
Yep.
But anyway, so those are my 3 to round out my list. What about you, man? What do you got?
All right. So my number 3 mail-in is
I love it.
Candy Apple.
She was on my list too. She was on my list. I had to will it down.
Candy Apple is Ripcord's girlfriend. This was from, I believe, issue 37, I believe. So this was Candy dating Ripcord, and Candy drove a van just like this, and she was an entertainer that dressed up as a bear. And this is her and Ripcord getting to this event at a fair, and she's the bongo, the balloon bear, and they're getting into this event and getting hassled trying to get into it. And this event is actually it's a Crimson Guard front for this circus. And then this is the issue where Flint's on the roller coaster fighting Tomax and Zaymot.
Yeah.
But I've always really loved the idea of her in the bear costume, and Rip hooks up with Ripcord, and they're driving around and they go to this fair. And I just always wanted Bongo, and if we could get it, a van. I'm really thinking about trying to find a way to turn one of the ramen vans into
you
Bongo,
totally
the
could.
balloon bear.
Yeah, you
van.
totally could do that for sure.
If I knew how to spray brush, man,
Right.
airbrush. So that is my pick for that one. One I want to see. Now, I think the next one's one that probably won't be any surprise to anybody. Let's give me this some bitch right here.
The Viper. Come right your windows.
I want this Viper. I want the Viper. Somebody in here earlier said they'd mentioned that they had a custom of him. I've seen several really good customs of this guy, but I want a legit. I want
That'd be great.
Official Hasbro. Give this man that respect that he deserves.
Right.
Been out
Complete
there
with accessories, right? What the hell was
busting
that?
his ass. I think it was my hair dryer falling off on the storage tub.
Okay.
I had my foot up on it, and I think I bumped it. But yeah, you give that man the respect he deserves.
Yes.
Yes. Busting ass trying to get them windows. You know how many damn windows there are in Cobra Temple? And he's trying to get up all streak free in the desert.
Are there windows in Cobra Temple? I thought they were just open windows, like Adobe style temple with just open windows.
Destro developed a energy efficient, highly sand resistant glass. And this is the only man that's qualified to clean that glass. He's the only one. He's the only one that can do it, man. And you don't mess with him, man.
Right.
They one time was going to hassle him.
It was a misunderstanding.
They were going to hassle him out, and they were going to push him out, and he kind of snapped. He kind of went off and pushed back at Cobra when they were going to kick him out of the ranks, and sounded like this.
Say What again? I dare you. I double dare you, motherfucker.
Get the big brain on Brad.
He pulled that
Right.
that 9mm out of that wash bucket, and he's still in Cobra to this day. So, but I've always loved this and wish they do a figure of this dude, and a mail-in would be a perfect way to bring this guy in. So that's my number 2. And then let's see, you got
Is number 1 a Boy George Snake Eyes?
Yes. It's actually, it's Polly with a goatee and a little glasses like he's the agent. So next is helps if I'm on the right page. It helps if I'm on the right screen. So next we got the Reaper. Not technically a character, but what if they did a version?
That'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
As a mail-in, and you Cobra Reaper. Now I know it's technically not a character,
right?
But how awesome would it be as a mail-in?
Yeah.
Best cover ever, 43.
That's birthday cake too. Birthday cake. Absolutely. Yep.
So
absolutely.
Maybe that's a premonition of things to come.
Right.
Because he has that 60, M60 that maybe he passed on to the Saw Viper.
Yeah, this is definitely, I mean, it was so good. And that would actually be super cool. Definitely. I mean, again, not a real figure, not by name or I guess whatever, but yeah, no, I'd love to have one of these. I mean, I guess ultimately in another line, even you may very well have this already, right? Or at least something headed that direction.
Yeah. Well, this isn't. I haven't done it actually, sat down and done it yet. But I have the parts to make a custom of this.
Yeah.
And I finally have a skeleton that can be used for it. So I am going to actually whip one together.
Hey, Sabir, I'm all about that polar. I want that pack. I want that Snake Eyes. I want that polar bear 100%. And I'm with you. I want some of those from, the different, multi-part series, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to have some of the enemies from the temple, or the the stuff they end up having to face during the mass device, or whatever. It's like some of those
army.
Yes, absolutely, all that shit. I would love to have those. I think that would be awesome. Just going through some of those episodes and looking at some of that stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun to have some of those. Definitely.
So that one, I kind of threw him out there. He's not really he's not really a figure, but I'm like, that's something that they could do as a mail away and throw out, and it's not a major retail release, although I think they'd sell the shit out of it if they did.
Right.
Because that's my favorite cover, favorite issue. First appearance of Scrap Iron, murders 3 people right off the bat.
Yes.
Including Candy, who was one of my other picks. So that's why I picked that guy. I thought he'd be cool. If you said it wasn't allowed, I had a backup. So I'm good. So, so that's our list on these guys. I thought that was kind of a fun topic to do. Mail in. We don't, the mail-in stuff doesn't seem to get a whole lot of love when topics and things are brought up.
Not really. I mean,
because they don't do it.
I love the
Bobby
function
Valla
of
does
it. I love the function of it. I love the fact that there's, again, having to go through those motions of clipping out the flag points or the whatever, and maybe calling in to get a code, and just it's something that's really lost in today's world. And but as a kid, it kind of made you work for it a little bit, so to speak. And it was like and then you had the anticipation build up. I mean, we still get anticipation obviously now, but yeah, no, I love that. And You know, it's a kind of a bygone era, so to speak. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's fun. At least pull those out and look at them and go, okay, which ones did I really like? Which ones did I have? You know, and which ones did I like best? So that's always fun, man.
Yeah, because you had to look at them because, you know, we didn't have all of them. Didn't have most of them.
I mean, you know, had a few. There were several in there definitely didn't have, but and then others that you kind of had to trade for, right? You know, maybe your major
Yeah.
blood, you had to go and get that from some other kid, you know, or
Yep.
Duke or whatever, right?
Yep.
But anyway, so
Well,
that's about all I got. What
got.
about you, buddy?
Unless y'all want me to open Moon Knight, but no, I'll save Moon Knight.
Yeah, you might
I'll
have to do
save
one on
him.
that.
Yeah. Need
So
to clear the table off over here a little bit.
So do you got anything coming up here? At least you know review wise in the next few days, or are you plan anything? Or
I may or may not do a review on this Moon Knight. I don't know.
okay,
So if I feel like filming it, whenever Dalton gets here, what else I got coming? There's gonna be some stuff coming from Hella Dope, some Mythic Legions, some of the ones I've really been waiting on. The Necronominous wave is getting ready to show up, and that's the guy I really been looking forward to. That's got like he's literally death, comes with the hourglass and shit.
right?
Those guys are going to be coming out in the next couple weeks, I believe. Other than that, not really. Just need to come in here and move some stuff around. It's time to swap some guys around.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Don't really have anything major. Just those reviews if they pop up, and be back on next week on Wednesday with Backyard Battlefield with Crow.
Love it.
What you got happening?
Just got Friday night for Unfiltered at 10:30 Eastern. Gonna probably pop on with Shane and Woody for a little bit on the same time. Hang out earlier on Friday for a little bit, and then I'm gonna finish moving the drum set and the TV. And then that way, because my camera is free now, I can put the prompter up and kind of got room. It's coming into shape, it's taking shape. So yeah, that's about it. So hopefully I'll start to be able to, and really got to review those two guys, you know, behind me over here with the Cosmic Legion and then the Monster Force. So I'll be doing those reviews. So be on the lookout for those. Not that anybody really cares about my opinion on those, but I am going to do a review on both of those figures. And so I've got to get my card table set up, and then that way I can, you know, get the camera free and be able to do that. So that's kind of the plan. And this camera actually is really, really good. So I should be able to get some really good detail, high def detail on the review. And actually maybe do a couple good reviews on those. But yeah, man, that's about it, man. Just next Tuesday with Matthew. So be back at it, feeling a little better.
I may try and show up on same time if he does it. Depends on what time, and because he does that, he goes on like I'm driving home when he goes.
Yeah.
On
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. No.
I
mean,
I
hell,
may
if
try and hop
you were
on.
driving, even, you know, just to chat
Yeah.
on your way home, even, you know, probably wouldn't be no big deal. But
I don't know. I gotta get a link for that one. I don't know if I'm prestigious enough.
Shit.
To get on that one or not.
More so than I am. I can tell you that much.
But that's it. That's all we got
man.
for you tonight, folks. Hit that like button. I appreciate you. We've had anywhere from 8 to 20, I think 24, 26. We got 15 still watching. Appreciate you. Hit that like button. That helps out a lot. Hit that bell. Share it if you got somebody that'll share it too that's interested in any of this nonsense.
Mr. Madgus rolling in right at the very end.
This time, man.
But always a pleasure for sure. And Sabir, man, you know, Dave, Tassie, Sharlock, Matthew, everybody hanging out all night and chilling. Man, yeah, really, really, really appreciate it. And it's always more fun, as I always say, to have people hanging out. That's for sure.
Everybody that been here, thank you, and we will see you guys again in
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Regular cannon you say? No, says I. Watch this, people. Yeah, we just rolled through Trailer Park. What's that? Except for the ninja stars.
Bye.
See ya.